The path. The path. There is always a path that you can walk on. You see, there is a destination. We all have a destination in life. All of us. We all have that destination we want to reach. But before we reach that destination, we must walk upon a path. Now, this walk comes with various obstacles, various hurdles, and specific obstacles that want to deny us from getting towards our destination. Because here's the thing, we can see the destination, we can see it with our eyes. But there are things in our way that wants to stop us from getting towards our destination. What's everyone's dream? When you're a child, you're young. Because obviously, there's the double flex. When people say, age is half hope. Why don't you give this guy horseman status? Why don't you give this guy tier 1? Why don't you live for this guy? I say he's going to do the two flex. There is the essence of club football and the essence of international football. So shout out to your league title, shout out to your FA Cup, shout out to your Cup Del Rey, shout out to your DFBs, shout out to those things. League title is cool. I want to see that. I want to see your World Cups, your Euros, your AFCONs, your Copa Americas, your Asia Cups, your Gold Cups, and I want to see your CL. This is the elite competition. This is the zenith. This is the pinnacle. That's what everyone dreams of. But I want to reach the destination. The destination. We have the goal and we can reach it, we can taste it. It's so close. We can smell it. But why are there things in the way of stopping us from reaching the destination? Why can't we just walk the path free of charge? Why can't we walk the path free of charge? Because we're not the only ones walking the path. We're not the only ones who want to reach the destination. Others want to reach it just as bad, if not more, than us. So, when you see that trophy, and you know what that trophy brings, you know the narratives it brings, you know the respectability it brings, and you know how it can change your career. As you know, right here in the football, we do things a little differently here, you know. We rate you on your CLs, your World Cups, your Euros, and so forth, and we start them. That is what defines you as a player, and that is how you get ranked, and that's how you get respected. We don't give a crap about your league titles. We don't give a crap about your goals. We're not stats merchants here in the football huts, okay? We are trophy merchants. We live and we breathe on trophies, medals. We're tangible merchants. Both of these teams, they've had interesting paths. And their paths haven't necessarily been to do with this year. It's been a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year, 6-year, 7-year, maybe even a 10-year journey that they have taken in order for them to reach that goal, that destination. As hard as each of their paths have been, there's a saying in life: you've got to look after number one. Be nice to your neighbor. Be kind to your neighbor. But you can't put your neighbor ahead of yourself. Be nice to the neighbor. Love thy neighbor as you love yourself. But you cannot put your neighbor ahead of yourself. You have to worry about number one. And when a CL title, a trophy, the Champions League trophy, when that is at stake, you've got to be selfish. You've got to be greedy. Because too much is riding on this trophy. You've walked a tough path. A tough, dogged path. You've been bitten. You've been scratched. You've been beaten down, spat on, kicked, punched. But you're almost there. You're almost there. But you look to your right. He's there with you. And he's going to crawl and scratch just as much to reach that destination before you. So how badly do you want that? I refuse to accept what happened in 2009. I refuse. In my mind, and people can call me childish or so forth, in my mind, Chelsea have won the CL twice. If you push me 3 times, because I'm willing to also take the Mourinho win as well. But fine, let's keep it real. At the very least, I'm going to say twice, because you see, 2008 is what it is. You know, I still believe that 11v11, if Drogba wasn't sent off, Chelsea beat United, and for some reason John Terry decided to sleep. He could have won it, basically. He decided to sleep before he took the penalty. And I used the example of Bayern Munich. Because you look at Bayern Munich. See, Bayern Munich, the pain of 2012 gave them the fire in their belly that was unquenchable. Because throughout that summer, they said, no. This pain that we received of losing the CL final at the crib to a team who were vastly superior to, no. We have to correct this. And the very next year, they said, what's up? So I used an example and say, if, Chelsea had that fire in their belly. They knew that, no. The way that we have lost this is so much. And the pain of losing it on penalties, specifically the way that they did, it was painful. It was painful. It was shocking that it was wrong. It was wrong. It wasn't right. So, you look at 2009. And of course, it was a superb, amazing Barcelona team. And you see, I would be more willing to accept 2009 if Barcelona just beat the crap out of Chelsea. I was the case, hey, look, Henry, Edso, Messi, Iniesta. Oh, look, it was just a fantastic team. Puyol. Oh, it is what it is, But the fact is that, no. Tactically, Chelsea, they had them. He didn't get everything. They had them. And that match was won. Cool. There were several decisions that were made that were wrong before the Iniesta goal. But once Iniesta scored, it was like, damn. Look, what are all those decisions? But you know there was going to be another chance. It was a penalty. Like, this isn't me saying, oh my God. It was a penalty. There's no discussion, no ifs or buts. It was a penalty. Because Barcelona fans can say, oh no, we also had decisions go against us and everything. But no, this was clear. And I'm telling you right now, this is the first time I'm saying this. The referee knew it was a penalty. But the referee, in his mind, the occasion got to him. And I think the drama of Iniesta scoring that goal got to him. The drama of seeing Pep ruffle up and so forth against Slovenia, it's got to him. And based off of that, because of that, the referee was like, I know it's a penalty, but I'm hyped. I'm sorry, I'm only human. And you see, that's why I am, as weird as it may be, I may almost advocate for referees to be turned into machines and so forth. It gets artificial intelligence because at least these guys have no emotions. The referee is only a human being. And I feel that the occasion got to him and he knew it was a penalty, but because he was so hyped, he just didn't give it because he wanted Barcelona to go through. And Chelsea were robbed of a Champions title because I have zero shred of doubt that if Chelsea reached that 09 final, they would have beaten United based off of the determination that they had. And this is a bigger thing as well. UEFA didn't want that. See, and ideally, for me, I can understand how UEFA and Champions League, because this is me as well, you want to push for a final that includes a team from one league and a team from another league. So you want to push that, and I agree with that. But what you can't do is try to negate what it is. Like, the fact of the matter is that we were going to have, for the first time in Champions League history, the final over 2 years to be played by the same two teams, 2 years in a row. That's what's going to happen. And I think UEFA were like, you know what, we can't allow this to happen. We've got to somehow manipulate this. We've got to somehow stop this. And that's what happened. So, 09 is the biggest robbery in football. I've never seen a match stolen from a team to that degree. And the level of injustice was actually quite shocking. So, the injustice of 09 still lives on. It still lives on. Because my thing is that, what if Chelsea won in 09? Because if Chelsea win in 09, that means Barcelona, Pep has one less CL. Barca have one less CL. And if Chelsea had won in 09, who knows about 2012? We don't know how that... Because that's the beauty about this whole what if, what's about to happen. But 100%, see, I am not a what if merchant of like, oh, it's but... I am convinced that if that match wasn't stolen, because that's what it was theft. It was theft. Even if the match took place at night, it was still daylight robbery. It was daylight robbery. If that match was not stolen by the referees, based off the agenda they had, I don't want to go into the details, but based on the agenda they had, 1,000% Chelsea would have been 09 CL winners, and who knows how that would have changed that team and so forth, and especially for Essien. I feel sorry for him because he deserved to be a CL winner. He deserved to be a CL winner, But obviously, as fate would have it, that wrong was eventually corrected afterwards. But even if that wrong was eventually corrected, till to this day, and for as long as I live, I will keep on saying, unless there's a greater robbery that happens, I will always keep saying that was the biggest, most blatant, disrespectful robbery I have ever seen in this great sport of football. 1,000%. There's nothing wrong with spending cash. There is nothing wrong with spending a little bit of cash. What's wrong with it? You see, there are a lot of people that hate Man City. because they say that, oh my gosh, you spent all this money, it's just oil money, oil money, oil money. You've spent your way to success, rather than doing it the proper way. Please tell me how many Ajax stories exist. Please tell me. Tell me how many Ajax stories exist. That was why that was such an incredible victory and such an amazing football story, because that is rare. That's a one-on-one. A team full of youngsters and babies and children defeating a mighty AC Milan in a CL final back in '95. Huge, amazing. So the fact that City are investing in trying to win this trophy, there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like, because it's the reality of football. And see, for me, I'm a guy that says, okay, what's the state of play now? I'm not a guy that just hangs up on like, oh no, things should be like this. This is how things should be. I'm like, okay, things should be like this, but they're not. This is how things are. And there's a saying that says, get with the program. Evolve or die. Either get with it or get the heck out of here. So there is money in football right now. Spending is the name of the game. Look at what happened to Wenger. Wenger was like, no, I'm going to keep these players together. I'm not going to spend. I'm going to try and grow and everything. And then players were like, nah, win a battle life. We'll leave you because we want to win now. Everybody wants to win now. And in order to win this trophy, you have to spend. The Ajax story doesn't happen every single year. It hardly ever happens. So for Man City, the reason why I like what City have done is you're opening the field. You see, the people who hate Man City are those that feel that are threatened by their existence. So whether it could be a Bayern, whether it could be a Barcelona, whether it could be a Real Madrid or so forth, are those who are threatened by them. And if there are those who are not threatened by their existence in the elite competition, the guys who are just jealous. So if you're like a smaller team, say, oh no, we are real and so forth, man, we ain't gonna spend no money, we're real. You're real playing against Elche and Eibar and Lugo, but we're real. But those guys, as much as they wanna try and moan and throw stones and so forth, they envy Man City. They envy the status that Man City have. So for me, I can't insult City. See, I use the money arguments to discredit Pep. As in like it takes you training. So the money thing I use to insult Pep, I have never used that to insult Man City, because I'm like, hello, this is club football. The reality of club football is that you want to spend. And for these City guys, they say that, like, look, if I was in their position and I was a billionaire, I'm like, I want to have my own Real Madrid. I want to have my own Bayern Munich. And in order for me to have my own Real Madrid and my own Bayern Munich, of course, I would like to invest in the youth and so forth. But this is like ultimate team. It's let me build my dream team of superstar players and let's pop off. So obviously, they tried it with Mark Hughes. The other guy was a full-on brick. Tried it with Mancini. A lot better than Mark Hughes, but really was not that good. I think they had Ericsson at a point. So for so long, this has definitely been a product that's almost been like a decade in the making. You had the Toure era, they had Robinho, at one time Elano. So many guys have come in and come out of it, And I have to admire their persistence in sticking with it, because the goal, I think from the get-go, and this is similar to PSG, it's the same thing with PSG, from the get-go, the goal was we want to create a European dynasty. And in order to do that, we need to win this Champions League trophy. Now, in order to get there, we need to create a winning culture. So we need to win a whole bunch of Premier Leagues, win a whole bunch of FA Cups, league. We just need to get into the habit of winning. So once we're into the habit of winning, then boom, it can help us. It's the same thing with Bayern Munich. Because Bayern Munich are like, no, this DFB Pokal is important. This Bundesliga is important because we want to maintain that winning mentality. So we can never switch off. So we are always on. We are on in the Bundesliga, we are on in the DFB Pokal, and we're on when that comes to the Champions League. So City was wanted a case of like, look, we can't spend this money, however much it wants, and win in that same year. That's not how football works, and that's the beauty about football, that you can't spend money initially and win it in a short term. This takes time, and this is a long process, and it's been a long road. It's been a long road. Ridiculous amounts of money spent. I'm still waiting for my cuts. Sheikh Mansour, I'm still waiting for my cuts. Ridiculous amounts of money spent, but they're here. They are here. This is where they're at, and they want to boogie on down, and they want to stake their claim. And but I think that's just the key points to make is, I'm sorry, I cannot get with anybody who criticizes them for spending a whole bunch of money. Now, if your club succeeded without spending money, okay, cool. But see, this is the beauty about Wikipedia. Wikipedia isn't going to give you any extra credit by saying, hey, they won the Champions League without spending one kobo, so therefore they're more worthy winners. No. Wikipedia will say they won, full stop. Oh, that's the score line, and this is who scored, full stop. And I think once history is black and white, people don't really read, people don't read the context, people don't read between lines. People just say, okay, who won, who lost, who said what's up, who bricked it up. That's all that matters. And I think for City, they know that. So a lot of money has been invested here. But I think if they do end up with these guys winning the Champions League, that could be the first of many, they'll say, no, it's money very well spent. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. Of course, Chelsea deserved it because whoever wins it deserves it, but it was a miracle. Chelsea were not supposed to win in 2012. Chelsea were supposed to win in 2009 or 2008. 08 and 09, even 05. Those are the years where Chelsea were supposed to win. 2012, they were not supposed to win. And when you just look at what it took for them to win, it's a crazy story. It's an incredible story. And I think that is the beauty about football, is that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. How they beat Barcelona doesn't make sense. This was a guy who scored the most goals in a calendar year. This was a team who were far better and a far stronger unit and a far better team than the 09 team. Like I always said, the best team that I think Pep has ever had was probably that 2011 Barcelona side, who, even if they didn't win the treble, they were superior to the 09 side. And the 2011 side were pretty much the same as the 20 and 2012 side. So, and Chelsea, this team was not as good as the 08-09 side because a lot of players from 08-09, like whether it was a Makalele or whether it was an Essien, were not there. And also, whether it was a Drogba, Lampard and everything, were much older. And we're now coming to the end of their career. So, this was a worse version of the 05, 08, 09 class. So, and that's just why football is, I always say to guys, I never assume. Never assume, even if on paper says, no, Barcelona, these guys are going to baptize these freaking dudes. These guys are going to give birth to these freaking dudes, is that you should never, ever assume. And I think when Chelsea said what's up and beat them, you thought that's okay, this is where it ends, because you're facing an extremely good Bayern side who are probably just as good as that Barcelona side in their crib. And again, shades of 08 and 09. Both injustices. And I think even if they had to wait 2020, 2011, 3 years after the injustice of 09, you just need to know this is something special. And again, Drogba was even talking about it where he said, you know what, Mata, he came to me and he said, no, we're going to win. So I was like, no, I'm going to Mata said, no. And this was even during the final where Mata said, no, believe, we're still going to win. Drogba didn't have our belief. And who would have had belief? Well, Mata said, no, we're going to win, it's our time, and then the rest, as they say, is history, So, but the thing about 2012, as much as I love 2012, I needed 09, I needed 08, because many people want to discredit 2012. Wrongfully so. But I can understand why people would want to try to discredit it. I can understand their point of view. I always fight back, but I understand their point of view. Because it's almost as to how you look at Man United's win in 99, where it's like, okay, they were money all the way through. Last 2 minutes, really? After being dominated for 90 minutes? So I do feel that Chelsea need another just to quieten the critics. They just need another one, just be like, you know what? Okay, it's real. Because if you win something once, it's like, okay, it was an anomaly. And also look at the way that they did it. People say, oh, well, did you deserve it? It was such crazy fortuitous event, and let's keep it real. They got outplayed in that second leg against Barcelona, and they were totally outplayed in that final against Bayern Munich. So, but the thing about that though is that, look, what would you rather have? Outplay a team and lose, or be outplayed and win? Now, ideally, you want to outplay a team and win. So you're like, hey man, we are fully deserved winners. But my thing about this is, again, we go back to Wikipedia. Wikipedia will never say they won, but they got outplayed. Wikipedia doesn't say that. Wikipedia just says they won. And you now have to now do your extra research as to, well, did they deserve to win or not? So who really did deserve to win? So, but 2012, 2012 was a miracle. It was a miracle. And it was a game, it was a campaign. Because remember this campaign, it even gets crazy because the manager changed hands. It went from Villas-Boas to now to freaking Di Matteo. And a guy who doesn't really have that much experience and so forth. So it was such an improbable task. When you just look at the events that happened, all the things surrounding Chelsea's season at that time, what they were doing domestically, it is such a crazy story. Probably one of the crazy, like the only thing crazy was of course what Liverpool did in 05, which I still don't believe, but I think 2012 was just crazier based on the whole story, the whole pie, the whole campaign. And when you look at what happened previously, what this team was, what this team meant, and what happened to them in 05, what happened to them in 08, and what happened to them in 09, man. But as sweet as 2012 is, as amazing as 2012 is, and as incredible a story that Drogba wrote in that final, which is, you can't write a freaking perfect story than that. As perfect as that is, one more is needed. One more is needed. Because then if you just have one more to go ahead along with that 2012, that is a nice, lovely, amazing package that nobody, not even the staunchest haters, can ever deny or try to take away from boys Chelsea. Pep. I think, what City realized, and I think what many people have realized, is one of the most important acquisitions you can make is the manager. So you can have all the amazing players in the world, and I think, City, they spent all the money on players all through the years and everything, and they just thought, oh no, we get a Mancini, Marquise is fine. No. You need to buy the manager, because you're not only buying the manager, you're not acquiring a manager, you're acquiring a philosophy. You're acquiring an idea. And you see, for Man City, of course, they saw Pep's success with Barcelona, but also with Bayern Munich as well. Now, you look at the whole Bayern Munich thing and say to yourself, okay, he didn't say what's up. He didn't say what's up to the degree of how he should have said what's up based on his credentials as Barcelona, and really as Bayern Munich, you were tasked with winning a Champions League with that team, and the fact that you had an extremely, amazingly, superbly talented team for those 3 years, and you couldn't even get into a single CL final, I think was a failure. But I think in City they said, no. This dude represents what we need for next 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and we are going to invest in his psychology, invest in his mindset. So for Pep, every single time that he failed or something was up, he said, look, I need this. And since we're like, fine, whatever you need, we will give you. And you need to succeed, but first, I know, bet, relax, chill, I will succeed. Just give me what I need, I will succeed. So the acquisition of Pep 100% is the same thing of why Juventus got Cristiano, is we want that big boy. Yeah, EPL is cool, FA Cup is cool, Karabuki is cool, Papa John's is fine, but we want that big boy. We want that CL trophy. And we know that you can come in and bring in that CL trophy. So what City had realized after for so many years, from the Toure era with Mancini and things, was like, of course we still need to invest into players, but spending all this money on a superstar player but have him coached by a brick, that ain't gonna cut it. That ain't gonna help us. That ain't gonna pop things off. What we need to do is we need to reverse the process. So we need to go crazy on the manager, and thus the manager's going to tell us that, no, I need this, that. So we shouldn't be going out to try to find specific players. It is the manager, the top tier manager, the key essential superstar manager that should be telling us that, no, my philosophy is effective, because this is a very complex sport where you need a very specific strategy in order to succeed. So if you give me these pieces that I need to ensure that my strategy is effective, I am going to be able to say what's up. So, and for Pep, he's been most successful. Let's keep it real. But as successful as it's been, it's really been about the CL trophy. I think he's done everything at City. 100 points, 98 points, now 3 Premier League trophies in 4 years. I believe he has completely, totally owned the Papa John's Cup. He's got the FA Cup. So domestically, he has totally reshaped, revitalized, and reshuffled the landscape of football in England. Hence why people can. I don't want to hear anything about the EPL being compared, because Pep has totally disrespected that entire league with the amount of records that he's broken in that league. So that is done. But I think they know that's all right. There is just one more frontier. There's just one more frontier to conquer. And once that is conquered, this entire plan that started with so many years, but the very reason we brought you here is what will deem this a full-on resounding success. What was I thinking? So let's just try and come into my mindset right now. Why did I say this? I'm not sure. Because see, I'm speaking as 2021 HH, not 2020 HH. 2021 HH is Lampard. These are a bunch of kids. Who are they? What have they freaking done? So it's hard for me, and I will try. But it's hard for me right now, sitting here right now in 2021, just trying to sort of fathom as to why the bloody hell would I ever think that those guys would at the very least reach the semi-finals of the Champions League. But I put myself out there because trying to enter into my mindset at the time, I was like, this team, I think, can do something special. And maybe I was having the fusion of 2012, because if we look at let's look at the path. So the Bayern's path was, of course, Chelsea, then Barcelona, then Lyon. So in my mind was, before the draw was made, Bayern Munich were struggling. They're not looking too good. And these were guys who Liverpool really said what's up to. And like I said, okay, no, Bayern, maybe these guys are not really what they used to be. And I just thought that, Chelsea, youthful team, young team who can run, who can direct. I just believe and felt that no. If they play with this kind of energy and this kind of electricity, it'll be too much for Bayern Munich to handle. That they'll be too slow, too lethargic to be able to counterbalance the kind of heat that Chelsea will bring. So I was hyped. So my thought was, I think these guys can beat a Bayern side who at the time were not playing well. Barcelona, these guys are a wreck. These guys are a mess. And these guys are too heavily reliant on a Messi. Chelsea being the better team will say what's up to them. And then it's then Lyon. And then against Lyon, who knows what could happen. So Chelsea can say, no, this guy's semi-minimal. But I was a year too early. The team were not ready. The team was too young. They got sliced, diced, and realized by an excellent Bayern Munich side. And, I criminally and disrespectfully underestimated just how good Bayern Munich were. And they... it was a beatdown. It was a beatdown in both legs, where Lewandowski was involved in every single goal scored. That's how scary it was. One man was involved in every single goal scored over both legs. And I think, and my assessment of Lampard was way off. I believed in him. I thought, no, this guy can lead Chelsea to something. But then, I realized what a fraudulent manager he was. His arrogance and how he was completely wrong for the job. So what 7 million taught me was you have to have patience with the process. And you've got to be humble. Either you be humble or you'll get humbled. I wasn't humble, and life and football, it humbled me. And it was a tough lesson to learn because I was like, you know what, HH? Shush. Hush your gums, keep your mouth shut, and let the football do its talking. Let the football, or don't force the issue. Don't force the issue. Don't force the issue. And here we are. So I needed just to wait 12 more months before they were able to say what's up, man. But yeah, what the bloody hell was I thinking? What is the LEP stream? What is a LEP stream? The LEP stream really originates from one clip. And it was that clip of Guardiola saying that he destroyed football. That's what it is. It's as simple as that. That's one soundbite. That one little thing that Peps said is what spawned this whole thing. Is what just blew the whole thing off. And it was due to that I was like, you know what, bro, you've missed the boat here. You've truly missed the boat here. So the LEP stream was always really came from Bayern Munich. Because it was like, you have an amazing team. You have superb players. You need to say what's up. You need to say what's up. And specifically for Man City, it's the amount of money you've spent, the amount of players at your disposal, and the teams you've lost to. Because see, the LEP stream wouldn't make any sense when they lost to Monaco. Because that was a very good Monaco side. And now you've seen how well those players have now become. One of them plays for freaking Pep now. So that did not make sense. But when you not look at... See, Liverpool? No. Because it was a very good Liverpool side. Tottenham and Lyon. Because when you look at that Tottenham game, I think again it was about greed. Because City wanted to win all the trophies. And look, ambition is great, but you have to have realistic ambition. But then they say to themselves, that isn't that an oxymoron? Because the whole point of ambition is you want to go beyond what is almost realistically possible. Because ambition, you want greatness. You want to reach beyond the clouds. You want to reach into the heaven. That's what ambition is. But at the end of the day, you can still be ambitious and still be realistic. And I just think that, his insistence of wanting to do the unprecedented and win all 4 trophies, I think definitely counted against him that season. Because you said to yourself that, you rested De Bruyne because you had a game against Palace, and then, you failed to really take the initiative in that game, and that really counted against you in the second leg. But you look at that second leg and so forth, of course, crazy things happened. Was the Loretta goal a goal or not a goal? But you were so much the better team. The better side. I believe that might have been, I think that was the 100-point season. I think it was either the 100 points or the 98-point season. You should have been able to say what's up. You should have been able to say what's up. No, I think that was the 98-point season. And then you now go over to Lyon. And the Lyon one was see, as bad as the Tottenham one was, because that was still bad because City were clearly the better side. They were clearly the better side. Like Tottenham they were hardly, they finished 4th, 5th, 6th in the league table and so on. So they were not really doing any, or did they finish 4th? But basically, they were not a team that should have really said what's up to City, and City slapped and diced them several times throughout the league. So City had no business losing to them. But you now look at the Lyon game. That was the ultimate left stream, because it was like, this is the ultimate embarrassment. Because I believe Lyon were 7th, and these are guys who the only guy of note they had was Depay, and maybe Owa. Owa was pretty good. So really, Owa and Depay were the only guys of note that they had. So the fact that a team like that, you allow them to beat you. Who can do that? It's a one-off game. You couldn't beat them in a one-off game account where you are clearly the superior side. You clearly have a lot more money to spend and so forth. It was a serious indictment on Pep's credentials. So that was an ultimate left stream, and I know, I can almost guarantee you that Pep has viewed these left streams. I can almost guarantee you that he knows how much and how badly he's fumbled the bag. He knows how badly he's screwed up. He knows how badly he's not succeeded when he should have, based on the crazy amounts of money he's been able to spend and the squad and the talent he's had at his disposal. So those left streams were fun. I'll keep those left streams were fun, because there is nothing, because he's so arrogant, tries not to be arrogant, but he's arrogant, because he put himself out there as destroying football and so forth, because he put himself as a savior of football with this whole new wave thing, it's made it all the more satisfying to clown him. Deservedly so. It made him all the more satisfying to clown him. But as I say, you know what? This is life. There's life. You rise and you fall. You rise and you fall. And he's fallen. He's fallen right to the depths of the abyss with Serie, and he's really felt the serious, embarrassing disappointment. And I mean, you look at the images of him clutching the grass, others going down like this. He's felt it. He's felt it, But everything that has a beginning must have an end. A change is always needed. And the difficult thing is, when a change is needed, you say to yourself that, when do you employ this change? When do you enact this change? When do you bring this change forth? Because that's key, because you have to know when to bring this change forth. Um, Chelsea were in a very difficult position. They were in a very difficult position, and they needed a change because the manager that they had was just complete garbage trash. You know, what I mean, look, I think people just say that I'm harsh on Lampard and everything, but the fact of the matter is, you have to see Chelsea will always be more important than any one individual, specifically the manager, because it's about you want this institution, this thing to succeed. Hence why I had I took particular annoyance to Conte holding the team hostage because he wanted a severance package. So he was purposefully, and this is the fact, he was purposefully losing games and tanking games, throwing a hissy fit because they didn't give him his players, and therefore, and also he didn't want to step down because he wanted to get sacked to get his severance package. So I think, for Lampard, he should have stepped down. Sure, he should have stepped down, but it is what it is. He kept on going, and if you're not going to step down, you're going to get sacked. That's going to cost the club money, but it's what it is. It's my freaking cash. So when a manager gets sacked and a new manager comes in, I think what the new manager realizes is that the way that things were being done was totally wrong. So you can maybe copy and take a few things, but the whole point of me coming here is, oh no, I've got to do things differently. They're hiring me because the old way didn't work. So I'm now going to come and think of it in a new way. And it was a radical change that Tuchel employed. Change of formation, bringing back players, different approach, different psychology, different coaching methods, different training methods. It was a different paint job. Like the house was blue, he changed it into pink with a little dash of purple. It was totally different. And it was vital. So you almost have to thank Abramovich in doing what he did when he did, because if he hadn't done so, Chelsea wouldn't have finished top 4 and Chelsea wouldn't be in a CL final. Doing what he did, Chelsea secured top 4, which I don't think they would have done under Lampard, and they made the CL final, which definitely would not have happened under Lampard. So that's point in time, and it's never easy to sack a manager, because you're like thinking of yourself that way. Me sacking this dude, how is this going to affect the team? And will the new person coming in be able to say what's up? But he did it. He had to make it happen, and it's been a resound. It was the right move. It was the right move. It is never ever easy trying to bring a manager to a comment, specifically in how difficult things are, specifically in this COVID season where the matches coming in thick and fast. But 100%, that change is a big reason why Chelsea are playing a Champions League final. 100%. Like, I'm willing to bet almost all the money that I have, which is not a lot, that Chelsea wouldn't sniff a CL final if Francis was in charge. Francis would not lead these guys to it would not happen, because he had lost the team, he lost the dressing room. There was infighting. It was disharmonious. There wasn't enough harmony. And I always say, once you lose the dressing room, you can never gain it back. Once you lose the dressing room, that's it. That is the full stop. You now reach a point of no return. You reach a point of no return. And that is what happened. It was a point of no return that they had reached now. So, and I wasn't sure. When Tuchel came in, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure it was going to work. But thankfully, he came in, he did his thing, and hey man, it is what it is. It is what it is. You have to admire people who learn from their mistakes, or people who know what they're doing is wrong. Especially when it's somebody who is very successful. You see, somebody who's a brick or a loser, man, all you do is make mistakes. Everything you're doing is wrong. So you should be taking heed and learning from everything from every mistake that is being made by you. That's what you should be freaking doing. But not everyone is like that. Not everyone is like that. And not everybody is going to accept their wrongdoing, accept the mistakes that they've made, and accept that they've screwed up, accept that they've messed up. You know, everyone wants to be big-headed. Everybody wants to feel big-headed. Everybody wants to feel like if they know everything. And I think for Pep Guardiola, he was very stubborn for a long time. For a long time, he was like, nope, my way is my way. And we saw it in the documentary, All or Nothing. In that documentary, Pep said, as long as we do it this way, we will win. The only way that we don't win is because we didn't do it this way to the best of our abilities. As long as we follow the philosophy by the letter and we execute the plan, it doesn't matter about the opposition. The opposition is relevant. The opposition is relevant. So you always focus on that. But we just look at all of their failings throughout the Champions League. They were never really, not in the case of them being outplayed, it was mistakes. Isolated defensive mistakes, lapse in concentration. And I think that, for such a long time, Pep Guardiola was like, if this attack pops off, we will beat every single team. As long as the attack does what it needs to do, we will outscore their opponents, we'll score more goals than the opponents. We can live with a few mistakes by the defense because we will always score more. But I think as you look at the Monaco failure, okay, fine, we'll get better and do better. Look at the Liverpool thing, okay, we're a bit unlucky with what happens. Tottenham, he said, no, the Tottenham loss, I think he would say to himself that, no, we were unlucky. Look at that decision. Sterling would have scored a hat-trick, changed everything for us. And he could have had the same thing against Lyon. Because against Lyon, it was still some defensive mistakes that allowed Lyon to score those goals. But he could have very easily said, if Sterling had put away that chance, we would have gone through. So he could have easily looked at that and say, aha, we were unlucky yet again. But how many times must you use that excuse of, oh, we were unlucky, where sometimes you say, no, I don't think it's a case of being unlucky. We just have to be better. And we have to be better in other areas. So that is where he says to himself, wait a minute, what if we put less pressure on the attack? Straight on, I'll score. What if we invoke a thou shalt not pass mandate? That we make less mistakes defensively, or hey, we may make no mistakes to defensively. Rather than us giving the opposition an opportunity to play, they now have to work for it. They have to work to score against us. We're not going to make any mistakes. So therefore, that's where he said, you know what? We need to go into defensively. We need to now try and shore up the defense. So that's where Diaz came in. That's where he now works with Diaz and Stones. And that's where he now made City, where, of course, they start attacking everything, but now they're a little bit much more balanced. And I think that just shows the evolution and the maturity of a manager where you don't have to forgo your philosophy. You don't have to. You can still keep your philosophy, but you can refine your philosophy. You can evolve your philosophy. You can massage your philosophy and take it to the next level. And that is just what he's done. And I think the improved the defense, the improved work rates of how they work off of the ball, the better defending, I think is the reason why they're in the CL final. Because we look at that PSG game, they made it very difficult for PSG. They made it very hard for PSG. And they forced PSG to work really hard. And I think the only goal that was scored over two legs came from a set piece, from a defender. But through open play, nope, thou shalt not pass. And I think that, because it's the same thing that Klopp did, I know I'm good in attack, but I need to improve my defense. And for so long, people said, Pep, defensively, he doesn't care about defense. For so long, from his Barcelona days to his Bayern days, I know this guy doesn't care about defense. He will just attack, play a high line, and there was always this is always a simple tactic of defeating Pep, because he always plays this one way and he doesn't address this area. But he's addressed it. He's looked at it. He's refined it. And I believe that I think is one of the biggest reasons, one of the key reasons why they are now in this position. It's a long time coming. It's a long time coming. And I think that for all his thought process of like, okay, I need to tweak this attack, I need to tweak this winger, we need to work on this triangle, work on this passing. All it took was, take a step back. Your attack is fine. You will always create chances. You will always score goals. You will always find a way of scoring goals. And I think that is something that Pep does. That you will always, always, always create opportunities and chances. And more than not, you will always score goals. But if you just address the defense and you concede less, it makes your chances of winning and taking this trophy, it improves it far greatly. You see, as you travel and go on the path, you need travelers. You go with a troop of people, a group of people. And as we go towards this very difficult journey that, of course, is the Champions League, you need a squad, a group. But the word squad and group, I don't think is the right word. It's a collection. It's a village. It's a unison of people, of characters, of personalities, of histories, of pasts, of emotions, of stories. That's the word. Stories. They're storylines. They're stories of each and every soul that makes up this team. This team of individuals that want to take up on this trophy and so forth. So what do people say? They say, you know what? Football. Let me tell you a little something about football. Football is like life. And this is what I always say in life, It's my little thing about saying life. Life is about balance. Be nice. Don't be too nice. Be harsh. Don't be too harsh. Anything you do, keep it within balance. Keep it in tandem. And if you do that, you can achieve things in life. You're not guaranteed anything in life. Nothing is guaranteed in life, but it will put you in good stead of trying to achieve your goals. Balance is key. And the same can be said when you're building a football team. Because when you look at these men, you look at this group of people that you have, they're individuals. They've got different personalities, different characters, and they've got different ways of how they interpret the sport. And you cannot take away a man's individuality. You cannot take away a man's character person. That is what makes them what they are and who they are. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. But you've got to build a team. But you have to build a team. So then you're like, ah! Like, how do you reach the balance? Because you're like, balance. How do you balance between ensuring you maintain the individual, but also bringing the essence of the team? How do you do it? How? That's the magic. But when we look at the players that make this up, as the players, they know that I'm an individual, but I'm an individual coming into a team. I'm a character. I am my own man. I am my own essence. But I am my own essence coming into a team. The better team will always defeat the group of superstar individuals. Because that is the beauty about football. Because football, 1+1 doesn't equal 2. Because if 1+1 equals 2, hey, Galacticos, PSG, Brazil 2006, we're just going to get some amazing players and we're going to say, what's up? Of course you need an amazing individuals. Of course you need technique. You need these things. These things are important. But those things alone will not guarantee you cheddar. They won't. That's the beauty about football. It's complicated. It's chess. You can prepare the best and so forth and still lose. But the key thing about the people, the players and so forth is that there are so many storylines here. And each player, they dream of winning this trophy. And they know how hard you have to work, how deep you have to dig deep in order to win this trophy. So again, I go back to my original point. The individuals. The importance of these individuals and what each of them bring. But you must take that and you must build a team, an ecosystem, a united strategic point of view and a philosophy that can be effective in order to win this trophy. Because all roads lead back to winning and trying to get this trophy. And for each of these individuals, they know. I mean, but I'll say it again. Of course they know, but I'm going to say it for you guys in case you don't freaking know. For each of these individuals, they know. Winning this trophy, gaining, because there are a lot of people, a lot of individuals in this funnel who never sniffed the seal. Never sniffed the seal. And they know that the chance of winning this trophy that you have to fight so hard for, so hard, can change your life. But you, as an individual, you're going to have to figure it out yourself. Because each and every other individual also wants to say what's up. Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin freaking De Bruyne, man. Some people have called me racist. Yes, they've called me racist. Yes, I have notes. Yes, I've got notes here. People have called me racist because they say that the reason why I don't want to give De Bruyne his credit is because he's pale. He's just quite pale. He's quite light. He takes light skin to the next level. He's pale. He's pale. So people have accused me of racism. But I'm not racist. At least I don't think so. And also, black people can't be racist. Yes, they can't. There's no such thing as reverse racism. Okay, sorry. But Chelsea rejects. There's a storyline here. And I think, 100%, if you were to take De Bruyne in a private cell or private room pause, he would say to you that I don't like how I was treated at Chelsea. I was not given an opportunity at Chelsea. And from a Chelsea point of view, it's like, my gosh, you let one slip. But then the flip side is, if he had stayed at Chelsea, would he have become the player that he is right now? But he was at Chelsea. Chelsea had him. He was right there, but he simply was not given the opportunities or the game time, or he was not really afforded the chance to develop into something. Same thing goes for Salah as well. So he goes to Wolfsburg. And I believe he breaks the assist record for Wolfsburg, and he is an instant hit. He's superb. He's amazing. He's absolutely incredible. And I think he now shows Chelsea, look, this is what you missed. A guy who is an excellent passer and superb with regards to finishing. But I think at Wolfsburg, he focused much more on his assists. Then when, he now, see, for me, you look at the 2014 World Cup. I think he said what's up there specifically in the game against America, where he was really the linchpin and the difference maker in that. But I've always held 2018 against it. And people say, okay, look, half up, you're being rude, you're being harsh, you're being too real. But my thing is that I'm real. I'm sorry. I'm real, like that trash singer JJ Lo would say. I hold him responsible for not helping Hazard in 2018 World Cup semi, because if De Bruyne had shown up, Belgium could have been in the World Cup final, and we could have been talking about De Bruyne and Hazard, the World Cup winner. But lo and behold, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I've always said AC world class, AC world class, AC really that to do it. And I've always said to myself that you've never helped your team in the CL. Let's look at that freaking Lyon game. Yeah, you may have G'd up and so forth, but your team needed you. You can't just score a goal and keep quiet. It's not how many you score, it's when you score. I need the equalizer. I need the winning goal. Those are the key things. That is, I need the key pass to help your team out of a difficult situation. So when your team is suffering, I need you to stand up and be counted. I need that from you. And De Bruyne just did not show that for me. So, because I have always held back in calling him world class. I've always held back in calling him one of the best players in the world, one of the best midfielders in the world. And there are guys out there who say, oh, no, he's the best midfielder in the world, who are crazy. Some people even said, oh, no, he is the best passer or creator in the world. I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe, Messi still says what's up and still breathes. I get it, understand, okay? The PSG said what's up to him. But he's been City's talisman this season, and he's been huge. And what I liked about De Bruyne is how he said what's up in key games. Dortmund, it was his pass that led for Foden's goal. And he was the guy that scored the goal, the first goal, especially when Dortmund were actually putting City under pressure. He was one that launched the counter-attack and scored that goal. And again, look at him against PSG. Albeit he didn't really mean to shoot, or at least it was his cross and pass that led towards that. So at every moment in time, he's always stood up. He's always said what's up, and he's always been the big man. And I think, of course, Mahrez is 100% key. Of course, these guys are 100% key. But I think when you look at him specifically, he's huge. He's massive. He's key. He is profound, and I think that you cannot deny the kind of De Bruyne. If De Bruyne balls, City have a very good chance of winning this final. It's as simple as that. Pep obviously loves all of his players, but Pep knows that De Bruyne is my key guy, because De Bruyne is a smart, intelligent player, and as we know from Pep Guardiola, he loves intelligent players, but also loves players who know how to make the right decisions. And you can say De Bruyne is this and that and everything, but one thing you can say about De Bruyne is that he knows how to make the right decisions. He always knows how to make the right decisions. And I've said many times that if there's a counter-attack and there's a dude who I would put my cash money on to say what's up in a counter-attack, it's De Bruyne, because I just know that he will choose the right thing. And I think what's been missing from De Bruyne is, have you bowled in a World Cup final? Have you bowled in a Euro final? Have you bowled in a CL final? Those are the three finals that I need to bowl, and no one cares about the FA Cup final. That's that proof is irrelevant. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude and everything, but when we're talking big talk, FA Cup is relevant. It's the big dogs now. The big dogs are World Cup final, Euro final, CL final. De Bruyne, you now have the chance to say what's up in the CL final, and you have a chance to really solidify yourself as a top player. And I've always said this, De Bruyne has always been quality. I have never called him trash. I've just said he's maybe slightly overrated. And for me, I'm one of those guys that I will never apologize for abusing or insulting a dude from back in the day. I'll never do it. Because you can be trash and you can be good. You can be good and then you can be trash. Now, De Bruyne has never been trash. But for a guy who I know how good he is, because I used to watch the Bundesliga a lot when he was at Wolfsburg, and I know the quality he has, I want more. I demand more. I need more from you. And again, this CL campaign season, in the games against Dortmund and against PSG, he's shown up. And I'm happy for that. And I'm proud of that. And that is what City fans, Belgian fans, football fans should be expecting to do, because I'm not one of those Twitter reactionary a-holes who, oh my gosh, He produced like a pass against Braunschweig or Pescara. He's amazing. No, 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 no. It's for me, it's all dependent on the games you show up. It's not just about showing up in a game. That's why the consistency is overrated. It's overrated. Yes, be consistent, but I'm also about high pressure times, degree of difficulty. When your balls are sweaty, can you say what's up, Briner? Let's see what we're gonna do in this finalmente. That Rudiger article was big time. That Rudiger article it gave me, because knowing the guy Rudiger, no, let me backtrack. I don't know him personally, but I feel that I share a similar trend from my mom, which is that I can read people's body language. I can tell just by looking at someone that, oh, this person is this person. All right, this person can't be trusted. Or this person is a good soul. Now, I've been wrong a few times. The people who I've looked and vouched for, oh, this guy is all right. And they've betrayed me and they stabbed me in the back. It is what it is, Shout out to Kelvin So. A dude I knew back in my days. Yeah, I put him on blast. So, I look at your boy Rudiger. And I read that article and I read about, and there are so many key things from his Players Tribune article, but the thing that jumped out at me was when Tuchel asked him, why are you so aggressive? I was really asked, why are you so aggressive? Like, why do you play so aggressively? And he talks about how his tough upbringing, his tough childhood, his mom not even been able to afford to give him a few euros just to go somewhere, and how he had to really dig deep and fight hard and play hard in order to produce and provide a better life for his mom, obviously coming from leaving the civil war of Sierra Leone and so forth. So that's, I was like, no. This guy is a very deep dude. And I think when you read that article, it just helps to embellish, and it brings a higher respectability of the guy Rudiger. And it leads me to this whole thing of when he was the traitor. As I said again, what we now find by these pieces of trash, pieces of feces, dog trash, gutter trash, certain journalists in the English media is they've got an agenda. And because they were so pissed off that their golden boy, Francis, was not going to lead Chelsea through, and he was sacked because the guy was garbage trash and it destroyed the narrative, they wanted to blame someone. And who better to put the blame on than the aggressive black dude? That's the thing. It's always a safe bet. Just find the black dude and put the finger upon him. And when that was put out there, that Rudiger is bad, I did my little bit that says, whoa, relax, you racist pieces of trash. We don't know anything. You don't know anything, and we can't trust these loser journalists who will want to create an agenda for their teacher's pet, Frank Homeboy. And later we now found that no, it wasn't him, but the damage was already done. It was already done. His name was already solid and so forth. And I do believe that there are still people, and still Chelsea fans, who sort of find it hard just to really come round to Rudiger. And I'm sure I can bet with you, under their breath, they're calling him a black, so black, this black, 100%. They cheer for him because obviously he's wearing the Chelsea badge. But secretly, if he messes up, they'll say that's trash under their breath, man. But it was great to have him back in the team, man. But what was so amazing was, not only did he come back in the team, he's arguably been one of Chelsea's most consistent performers. He has shown his quality. Because I remember seeing him at Roma and I thought, good defender, solid, strong, but tends to make a lot of mistakes. He's improved. I think that he's ironed out those mistakes that he used to make at Roma. And one thing I love about Rudiger, apart from how solid he is defensively, how well he reads the game and how consistent he is in defensively, the guy is a quality passer of the ball. So he's really good on the ball, but also his distribution with the ball is great. And especially when we're now, more other teams are total football merchants, where you're literally playing from the back to the front, it is very helpful. And it's not even helpful, it's almost essential that your central defender can really distribute and almost be like a quarterback and able to now produce and create a chance from deep. As again, remember, whose pass was it that led to Pulisic's goal against Real Madrid? It was Rudiger, which was a beautifully, amazingly timed pass. And who knows, against if City, who tends to play the high line and push men up, Rudiger's distribution and trying to find someone in with speed and pace may again be very key and may be very, very vital, man. So it's huge. So I do feel that this has been a personal redemption for Rudiger, being frozen out of the team, being made to be a traitor, being seen as the guy who was responsible for the teacher's pets and the trash rookie manager Francis for being sacked, and just having a turnaround, having a U-turn. And I think that U-turn, for me personally, I think is great to see. Guys, I'll keep it real with you. I love everybody, but I have a soft spot for my fellow black people, especially my fellow African people. It is what it is. Anyone that says, oh, I love everyone the same, you're lying. I do love everybody, 100%, and I tend to love everyone the same, but I'm sorry, I'm being real with you. If you're black, and especially if you're from the continent, the motherland as well, I have a soft spot for you, and I am a lot eager for you to succeed, and it's far more satisfying for me personally when you succeed. It is what it is. People that say, oh, why do you think like that? Well, tell your slave masters not to have been racist before and not do this world. It is what it is. But white, green, brown, blue, I love people, everybody. I'm a lover of all races, man. But for Rudiger, man, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. The fold. You see, a lot of people say that I'm anti-English and I don't rate English players. You can think what you want to think, but anybody that knows me and has been watching me is that I am brutally honest. And specifically when it comes to football, I can't be anything but honest, and I will continue to be honest. It is what it is. I will always maintain a certain level of honesty, and I will always give it to you hardcore and fully real. And the fact of the matter is that most English players for me are trash. So trash is an extreme word. They're not very good. They're talented, they're useful, but they're not that great. So I cannot name you 5 truly quality, exceptional players from England. I can't. Off the top of my head, Joe Cole, Ashley Cole. Basically, Joe Cole, Ashley Cole, Scholes are probably the only 3 exceptional players I can think of, and maybe you can say Rio and Terry. Maybe you can say, but for sure, off the top of my head, Joe Cole, Ashley Cole, Scholes. Those are the guys that say, no, I will give these guys these are exceptional footballing talents. Other guys, talented and everything, but they don't have the respectability that I have for Scholes, Joe Cole, and Ashley Cole. And when I just look at this, and England have a very good generation now, very good. Like for me, Sancho gets my seal of approval, 100%. Like when I just look at him and I see him, like, that's that dude. Foden does. And here's the thing about Foden is that the World Cup, you see, you balling at the World Cup for your age group is a big deal because you represent the best players in your country for your age group. It's a big deal. So the fact that Foden said what's up at a World Cup and led England to a World Cup for his age group was a big deal. And I think already, because I watched a few of the matches, because I tried to watch these under 17s, under 21s. And when I saw it, I was like, okay. Oh no, let me keep my eye on him. Let me keep my eye on him, So him being a World Cup winner already put me on his radar, and then now seeing him, there is just a certain footballing quality that he has. You see, because when I look at guys like a Lampard or a Gerrard, I'm like, these guys are good role players. But see, there's a difference between being a very good role player and just a quality footballer. Like Foden is a guy where he can just put it in a pack and he'll ball. If I take Lampard and Gerrard in a pack, I don't really know. I think they're going to be given specific roles and specific things to do in order for them to be effective. But Foden is a guy where he can be effective, but let's just kick around. Let just the natural, organic purity that is for football, I think, oozes from someone like a Foden. I just think it's unfortunate that he's got a trash break as a manager in Southgate who does not understand the kind of qualities that he has. And also, you see, once a Pep Guardiola gives you that seal of approval, once he gives you that job and says, no, you're that dude, it's a big deal. And the fact that someone so young is been given the seal of approval and been given the nod for someone like a Pep Guardiola who he demands very high. So see, Pep isn't going to be like, okay, well, because you're English, I'm going to put you in. And no. So he's not doing it because he's English. He's doing it because he's good. Because there is far too much at stake. There is far too much money thrown around for him just to put in a player because the dude is English. No. So he ain't going to do this. No. It's like, are you good enough? Because the demands of a player that plays under Pep are very, very high. Extremely high indeed. And I think that Foden has definitely passed that test, man. So it's a big game for Foden. It's a huge one for him, you know, because I think for someone so young, playing in a game of this magnitude is huge. Because again, for me, as I said again, I don't read newspapers. I don't watch English media because most of these guys are just brainless, you know, and I'm just like, are just biased losers. I can just tell, proceed for that. No, this guy has something. I like the vibe and the aura that I get off of him. And this, look, he's got so many years ahead of him. Like, even if he flops in this final, it doesn't mean anything. But if he is able to ball and say what's up, it puts him in a great position psychologically for the Euros. It gives something for Southgate to think about. But it will put his name on the map. And just say to guys that, you know what, I've won the World Cup for my age group, and I've now said what's up in the Champions League. And remember, he's been very key. He's been very key for these guys. Because remember, he's the guy that he scored in both legs against Dortmund. And he also provided the key assist for Mahrez in his second leg against PSG. So he has been very, very important en route to Man City's CL final berth, man. And yeah, man, look, it's we'll see what he does. We'll see what this kid does, but I think, you know, whenever you deal with guys this young and so forth, they are fearless. They are fearless. And also, it's because he's got a bit of swag. Yeah, I think there's some seasoning. He's you know, the food have been seasoned. He's got a bit of swag because look, see, he's basically, you know, chipped his eyebrow and everything. And when you just see how he carries himself, you know, he's got that laugh. He's got that laugh, and I think because the same thing with Dino. How you carry yourself off the field, if you've got a little bit of silk off the field and so forth, you know, like you walk, you know, you talk a little bit like that, you can bring that in, and that sort of like can influence what you can see on the field, man. So let's see whether we'll see Philip or the Ford comes the finale. Mount Kilimanjaro. We've had a very, very interesting relationship, man. You know, me and Mount. And I'm so happy to be doing these things in these chapters because this was a chapter that I really wanted to do and really wanted to get for. So specifically for the final, it's very good for me to be transparent and just put it all out there with regards to my view on this dude. Blame game. Because I've got this whole things all put down. The blame game. Now people may say that it's wrong and so forth, and I'm emotional. I try to keep my emotions in check and so forth, you know. But before that Bayern game, you know, it was, you know, hashtag semis minimum and so forth, and just the way that Bayern defeated Chelsea. Of course, I blame Lampard 100%, and I still do, you know. But I looked at Mount because I was so angry. I felt so ashamed that I had to. I think whenever you feel such anger and shame, and you feel sort of betrayed, you act out. And I acted out by saying, Mount, you're trash. You're too young. You're not built for this, man. Get the heck off this pitch, you trash player. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. And in hindsight, maybe I was too harsh on the dude. But beyond that, you see, the Lampard tenure was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. I think that has to rank as one of the darkest times in Chelsea's history because it's developed a civil war. A civil war where so-called Chelsea fans racially abused other Chelsea fans, and there were people who inexplicably were supporting a manager who was crap, And I think that Mount was in the firing line, because Lampard obviously wanted to. I think he used Mount as his shield, and him giving Mount that captain's armband was just him trying to push forth a weird ass narrative and an agenda, which we saw in the press conference. So Mount was sort of like, so it was sort of like friendly fire, man. Like cannon fodder. Who just. You were like, yeah, I'm aiming at a Lampard here, but Mount, you're sort of in the way, and you got caught in the crossfire. But when I saw Mount on a Lampard, I was like, yeah, dude is talented, but he's not elite level. He's not built for this level, and you can't just give me efforts running up and down. No, this is football. So I was like, I don't see why this dude is a freaking big deal. This dude is just the teacher's pet. This dude is basically being protected by a guy who is pretty much on his way out. And I think that is upsetting the dynamics of the dressing room when people are saying, wait, why is this dude who just runs around aimlessly ahead of me? Makes no freaking sense. But I admire his effort. I appreciated his effort, but I was like, efforts for me isn't enough. Specifically when you're an attacking player, I need to see technique, I need to see intelligence, I need to see productivity, I need to see football. So when he left, Tuchel comes in, and he's not the same player. Like, during that season, Lampard's first season for Chelsea, I know, no, man, this guy's talented, and I can see why this guy was, why he did so well in the Chelsea youth teams, But under Tuchel, I'm like, oh, we're now really seeing what this guy's potential was, because coaching is very important. And my thing about Mount is he makes things happen. He's very effective, and he's always very, very positive. That's why when we're sort of discussing like the formations and thinking about formation, I say no. It is imperative that he plays in his strongest position, which is as an attacking midfielder, because his tendency is to always look forward, move forward, play the ball forward. Like what I would say about Mount is you don't always have to shoot. You shouldn't be shooting on sight. He's very good at shooting and so forth, but I think there are times in which calm down, compose yourself, and make the right decision. What separates the really good players from the truly exceptional elite players is decision making. The elite players make the right decisions under pressure and make the right decisions when they have very little time to think and very little time to make a choice. So I think that is one aspect of his game I think that needs to be improved upon, is making the right footballing decision in critical situations. But 100% he's been Chelsea's most consistent performer. But I have to look back and still look at this thing in a wider footballing context. He isn't Zola. He isn't Hazard. He isn't Drogba. Where these were truly exceptional players, where given them the ball and they could do something. I told you, Zola is the reason why I'm with this freaking club. And Zola was a guy where he is going to produce something magical. And that's this guy who gave him the ball. So for Mount, he isn't the kind of guy that's going to do the kinds of amazing things that Zola did. But he will make things happen. And I think you have to see, the key thing for a manager and a coach, you have to understand every player's strengths and every player's weaknesses. Like Mount isn't going to do the outstanding. He's not going to do the magical. He's not going to do the stuff that's like a Zola, a Ronaldinho, and Messi is going to do. That's not his game. But what he will do, he will work hard. He will work hard off the ball. And what I like is that it's always positive. So he'll not always play the safe pass. Okay, how can I move the ball forward? How can I try and create something in the channel? How can I find those little pockets of space to try and create and open up a chance? And I think that is very important, especially when we're now coming to this final and the game becomes very key. So look, man, Mount for me has been transformed, and I think I have become to appreciate his qualities under Tuchel. Under Lampard, I didn't see his qualities. I was like, who the hell is this dude? But under Tuchel, I'm like, no, oh wow. I'm beginning to see how good he is. And I've always said this is what I've always said, and people take this the wrong way. When I said that Mount being Chelsea's best player is an issue, that's not insulting Mount. That's not insulting Mount. That's not calling him a crap player. Because I have extremely high standards for Chelsea. Again, this is the team that produced guys like Zola, like Drogba, like Hazard. Truly exceptional players. So for a team who I want to win all the trophies and dominate the world of football, I have very high benchmarks. So of course, Mount should be one of the top players, the key players. But him being the best player, then are we saying that Mount is as good as Messi? Are you saying that he's as good as Mbappe? Are we saying that he's as good as João Felix? Surely we're not saying that, because those are the best young players in the world. And Mount is very good for his age, but you wouldn't call him as one of the best young players in the world. But I want Chelsea's best player to be one of the best players in the world. That's what I want. That's because you always want to demand the very best, but it is what it is. But again, look, man, for Mount, man, this could be a big final for him. Because if he does something truly special, and I mean truly special here, I'm going to come on that stream and I will give a very deep apology. Because if Mount wins this for me, bro, you guys will be shocked by what I'll say. Queen Elizabeth will be shocked by what I'll say if Mount does the amazing thing, man. There's been a lot of debates here, Diaz Van Dijk. And I put out like a video and so forth. And I think a lot of Liverpool fans, they took it the wrong way. And for me, see, my thing about it, I don't mince words. I never say maybe. I never say could be. See, when it comes to for football's sake and my football analysis, I'm a Sith. I'm a Sith. I deal in absolutes. I will never be wishy-washy, but I know. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. And I'm willing to argue and debate on it. But I'm very, very firm in what I say. And I said that, I believe that Diaz's impact for the time that he's been at Man City has been greater than Van Dijk. And that's taking nothing away from Van Dijk. But I always felt that Van Dijk benefited off the system and the protection that Henderson gave him. And there isn't anybody that works as hard off the ball and is as good defensively for City as Henderson is for Liverpool. I think that Henderson's defensive work for Liverpool was greater than what Fernandinho does for Man City, in my opinion. Hence why you look at the games that Liverpool play without Henderson, they truly suffer. But that takes not away from Van Dijk. Van Dijk is still, when fit, one of the best defenders in the world. And that doesn't change. But this Diaz kid is special, and I love his defending. I love his brand of the defending, man. And he's been a very, very key reason as to why City have been so good this season. Because City have been a bit more composed, a bit more compact, and there's been a more steely nature to them. Like when you look at the 100-point season, the 98-point season, it was flair, it was attacking, it was men going forward, it was very, very proactive. But when you now look at how things are right now, they still can score goals. They still want to be very positive and moving forward, but there is a greater focus on being defensively sound. And that has really come from Ruben Diaz being there, who I just think that he has definitely improved City's defensive work. John Stones, I'm still not sold as a good defender. He's not. But this just shows you the mystery and the magic of defending. An average defender can become an amazing defender if he's paired with another amazing defender. It's weird how that works. If John Stones is paired with a Maguire or a Laporte, he would look the same. But there is something about his partnership with Diaz where they're on the same wavelength, they understand each other, but I think Diaz helps to influence him and Diaz helps to improve him. And I think that once you form that understanding where you don't even need to speak to each other, you know when a guy goes forward, you know when a guy goes back, you know when to go zone, you know when to go man to man, you know when to double team. And also the key thing as well of a defensive partnership, you know each one's strengths and weaknesses. Okay, he's good in the air, he's good in the ground. Okay, he's not that fast. Oh, he's very good at recovery. Okay, he's not very good at turning around. Okay, he's very strong. Okay, he's very light on his feet. So you can make up for each other's weaknesses and you can lean on each other's strengths. So he's been a huge inspiration. But I think, the performance that really just shining for me was PSG. Like that second leg performance, even in the first leg as well. First leg, I thought the City were good, and he was very good as well. The only goal came from a set piece. But that second leg performance, I was like, because I said to myself, look, the amount of blocks this guy is making, the amount of interceptions this guy is making, the amount of times that this guy is just getting up in everyone's grill, the amount of time that this guy is just continuing just block after block after block, tackle after tackle, and it just has superb positioning that it stands out. And you see, in many games, and the attacker always stands out. So it's very hard for a defender to win man of the match. It's very hard for a defender to even win a Ballon d'Or. It's very hard because football, the name of the game is scoring goals. So it will always lean towards an attacker. And I say that, a defender's life is so hard because a defender can do 99 things perfectly. They make one mistake and they're screwed. A striker can do 99 things wrongly, does one thing well, scores a goal, and they're now a hero in the game, man of the match. It's just the harsh raw deal given to the defender. So when a defender really shines, I always have to give them an extra kudos. And I think, because again, this was they were speaking to Diaz. I think a guy was interviewing him, and they asked him that, okay, what is your favorite Champions League memory? And he said, it hasn't happened yet. So I think for Diaz, he knows that, like, first of all, it's amazing that in his very first season, because everybody dreams of winning the Champions League. Everyone does. I think two dreams that everyone has is winning the World Cup and winning the Champions League. They represent the biggest trophies for international football and for club football. So for Diaz, he must be amazed that, wow, in my very first season, we've reached the final. But I think after he gave that performance that he gave against PSG, after his performance throughout this entire season, where he's going to win Player of the Year and so forth, something that is very rare for a defender, he knows that no, this will cap off not only a superb season, but will be a superb platform come Portugal, where he's going to be very, very key for Fernando Santos in Portugal. Because remember, Fernando Santos, Portugal, they're a very defensive team, very pragmatic team, so therefore the defenders have to say, what's up? Pepe, because he was probably the player of the tournament at the Euros. So Diaz knows that, we're playing a team that beaten us twice. Shouldn't matter, but it will play in his head. And he will know that, okay, this is where I now have to produce my very best performance. This is where I must not make a single mistake, and I must not step out of pockets once. And I know that he'll know that Pep, he'll be leaning upon him. Because what you don't want to do is make a mistake in a final. Make a mistake in a final. You don't want to make a mistake in the final. If they're going to score, and this will say, no, you have to sweat blood to freaking score. Now I don't think he'll have to sweat too much against Timo Werner, but the movements of Chelsea, the passes, perhaps the speed and everything, that is something that he'll be wary of. That's something that he'll be cognizant of, and that's something that he will be thinking about all the way through tonight and so forth, as before they take the place. But as I know, all that's one big performance. Again, he has to play his part. The 10 others have to play their part, but he knows that if he plays his part, which will thus influence his partner in Stones and perhaps the entire defensive line, that will put City on a good foundation, saying what's up. Timo. Nagelsmann, what up? What up? I want to have a meal with Nagelsmann. Just like a regular meal. You know? I want to have this meal with Nagelsmann. People say, wait, what do you want? I just want to say something in principle to Nagelsmann is, what did you do? What did you do to get and extract those goals from this player? Because I am running out of insults for this man. You know, I genuinely do believe he's one of the worst football players I've seen, comparable to Niang. He does not have a football brain. His IQ is on the floor, in the basement, and it's as if he's walking against Chelsea. That's how bad it is. It's as if this dude is walking against Chelsea. So it's very difficult to understand because you look at Red Bull Leipzig and you say to yourself that, was it Nagelsmann? Was the Bundesliga tax? You're giving him more space? A particular system? Does he need to play with a striker? Does he need pulsing? So you go through all these things and just say, okay, how does they do that was scoring so effortlessly for a team, break it up like this? But then you then look at the World Cup. You know, you look at the World Cup. And in that World Cup, he was trash. He was garbage. Now, people can say that's unfair, HH, because everybody was garbage. And this is true. Everybody was garbage at that World Cup. And Germany, and then Jogi Löw should have actually lost his freaking job. But there was a lot of hype from him. And what's his name? Brands. He did his thing. Every time, and I used to sort of, wait, why didn't Brands help? Because every time he came on, he was effective. I think he hit the ball like twice in that tournament. But there was a lot of hype around Werner based on his amazing goal tally for Leipzig. So guys would say, yo, bro, we need some help here. Werner, do something. Especially as we don't have Closer here. We're not looking for you to fill in the gap of Closer. But he didn't say what's up there. So it leads me to believe that, you know, flopping for Germany at the World Cup, the North Macedonia miss, this whole situation at Chelsea, he may be a case of like sister merchants. He's and sister merchants in the worst way, because you see, I always say that, you know, when you're a sister merchant, doesn't mean that you're a bad player. But I think he's a sister merchant in the bad player sense of like, oh no, this guy isn't actually very good. Puts him in the exact right system, and then he can be effective somewhat. But he's here. And he hasn't been completely useless, you know. Because you see, you look at the goal contributions thing, that for me, that's when you are obsessively being a stats merchant. Goal contributions and winning penalties and so forth. So it's like, yeah, that's all cool, but you were brought in here to score goals, not to fall over and win penalties. You were here to score goals. And if you're not scoring goals, you're not doing your freaking job. I thought he'd miss. Seriously, that goal he scored against Real Madrid, he has been so bad, and it's missed to such a degree that I thought he was going to miss that, but he didn't. You know, so for Timo, I understand that, and I get his use. He's fast. He's extremely fast, and speed kills. Speed hurts people. And against a team like a Man City, we've seen it for so long, especially against Pep teams, speed really causes Pep's teams issues, massive issues, and it's something that they find very hard to deal with, extremely hard to deal with. So here's the thing, man. So my thing here is this. Werner, I know you will start. So I have to now make peace that you're going to start. So rather than saying I keep saying this. Don't try to think about what should be. Just deal with what it is. He is starting. Now, let me just deal with the fact that he's starting. Timo, I'm begging you. You don't always have to shoot. If there's a pass to be made, make that pass. Because your speed is going to help to get in behind the curtain. I'm sure that the Diaz and Stones will be very wary of the speed that you have. And whether it's a Zinchenko or a Cancelo that is played. Or even like a Walker. But when you're in these key positions, it is imperative, I'm begging you, that you make the right decision. Because Werner, I am warning you, bro. You could do it as an EPL game, an FA Cup game, a Karabuki game, a Papa John's game. You can even do it in the freaking Audi Cup. You can't miss an open goal. You can't F up in this game. Not this game. Like, Werner, this is you're not entering my house. You're entering my home now. And you have to realize that this ain't the 2016 Real Madrid team. Who knows when next Chelsea will be in this position? I'm shocked that we are even in this position, but we are here. We are here. So there's nobody say, oh, I can't believe we're here. Fact that we're here, you can't mess this up. So Timo, I am begging you, bro. If ever there was a game, for you to show up in, if ever there was a time for you not to mess up, but specifically if ever there was a game for you to ride and actually do something amazing, it's this game. Because Werner, it's as simple as this. You show up in this, I will forgive you for everything that you've done. I will wipe the slate clean because I still hate you. I'm still on your case. I still think you're a freaking spy. I still think you're working for the KGB. But if you ball in this and you do something amazing, I am willing to wipe the entire slate clean. The ball is in your court. The master, the teacher, the overseer. When we're young, when we are young people and so forth, we think we know everything. Of course we do. Like, we think we know better than our parents. We think we know better than our teachers. We think we know better than our elders and so forth. But let's take a village. Every village has an elder statesman. I'm from Nigeria. That's where the country I come from. And in Nigeria, one of the things that we take very seriously culturally is respect for your elders. Because our elders are those that have the wisdom, the knowledge, and the experience to teach us things that we just simply don't know. And that information is passed on through several generations. So the elder within the village is very, very important. It's extremely important. Hence why, I was shocked as a guy living in Nigeria now, moving to England, how people in England disrespected their elders. I was like, this makes no sense. Because that's because the elder is an extremely important role within Nigerian culture, and that can be related here. Because the manager is the elder. The manager is the elder statesman. He is the guy who the players will rely upon. He is the man who players say, what do I do? Why do I do it? When do I do it? How do I do it? So many times we see a child. A child messes up. A child misbehaves. And what do you say? You don't say that, man, child, why are you misbehaving? Why do you do that? You don't say that. You say, where is your mother? Where is your father? Didn't your father teach you better? Your mother will be ashamed of the way that you're using your mouth. So, the elder holds so much responsibility. Whether rightfully or not, it doesn't matter. Every time the villagers, the youth, they mess up, people can say, well, no. They didn't listen to the teachers, but everything goes back to the teachers. Who are the teachers? Who are the elders? Who are those who are tutoring these people and giving them this experience? So, everybody, no matter who you are, you need guidance. You need to be steered in the right direction. Remember, you can only be steered, but therefore you have to move through, like as an amazing saying says, this is actually from the Matrix, shout out to your boy Morpheus. I can only show you the door, but you are the one that has to walk through it. And for the manager, he sets the blueprints. He sets the table. He's the dude who spends hours upon hours every day going over tactics, tapes over tapes. For hours upon hours, he's speaking to the coaches. He's looking at games in order to build the best possible blueprints, because he knows, and this is key. You have to listen to this now. This is very important. If the blueprints isn't 1000% popping off, everything fails. Everything fails. If the blueprint isn't right, nothing works. You can have the best players in the world, the most amazing players in the world, the superstars. If the blueprints isn't proper, if the general overarching plan isn't correct, everything fails. It's a done deal. You cannot win. The blueprint is messed up. So it is very important, and there is a huge amount of pressure on that manager to ensure that the blueprint that he has devised, that he has come up with all of his coaches, after hours upon hours of deliberation, is proper, it's right, it works. And call them the wizard, Gandalf, dog from Back to the Future, Morpheus, the teacher who teaches. And for these two men, there is so much. There is so much at stake. And I think these two men, they've taken two very different paths. One guy, you know him. Everyone knows him. And his record speaks for itself. And even though his record is stellar, even though his work is simply outstanding, this may be, no, scratch that. This is his most important match of his career. After everything he's won, isn't that crazy? Just think about it. After everything he's won, everything he's done, this might be his most important match of his career. For the other dude, nobody thought he'd be here. Let's keep it real. When you look at what he had to face, what he came into, nobody thought he'd even reach here. He has been here before, but nobody thought he would reach here with these guys under the situation he took over. But life is funny. Life is funny, and football is funny. And the beauty about football is that it's always have to expect the unexpected. You always have to. Teach. I always say that one of the most underappreciated people in society are teachers. Teachers are criminally underpaid. You have freaking bricks, crooks, white collar thieves, bankers who freaking thieve, freaking politicians who get criminally overpaid, who contributes literally nothing to society. What the heck do politicians contribute? Nothing. Teachers, my gosh, without teachers, how do we know? How do we educate teachers? These are the guys that we rely upon to educate the youth to grow forth. It's important. Teachers. And as we embark on one of the biggest games, I think, in football history, for these two men, you've had a long time to devise that blueprint, that all-important blueprint that we've already gone through is extremely important. But once it's done, you have to put full stop and you've got to fold it up and deliver it in. You can't spend forever on the blueprint. There is an end game. There is an end date when it has to be finished, and so you've got to hand it in. I've done all I can. I believe. No. See, now you may say, okay, I believe I've given the best blueprints. That's not good enough. This is CL final. I'm sorry. Belief isn't good enough. You have to say, no. This is the blueprints of winning that trophy. This is the plan on that trophy. Now, again, it's about how it gets implemented, how it gets used, and so forth, and how it gets executed. Because there's no point in having a great plan if it's not executed properly. But it is very important that you have a great plan and the right plan. So, let's just hope for these two men, because remember, there are no do-overs. This ain't PlayStation, this ain't Xbox. You can't be like, okay, let me go back to the previous save. Nah. They know checkpoints. This ain't Final Fantasy where, okay, let me go out to the freaking checkpoints and so I can beat this guy with like some new potion and stuff. No, there's a freaking checkpoints of freaking Final Fantasy 7 Cloud Strife. All Mass Effect, which is better. Have up checkpoint, great. Okay. This is real. This is real. This is reality. There are no do-overs. And for your sake, for both of these men, I'm going to say what's up. Pep Guardiola, man. Mind games. You see, I believe I know Pep more than even he knows himself. And look, this is what I've always said about Pep Guardiola. Like, my issue with Pep is because I actually got done watching his interview with Rio, and he's odd. He's really odd. I mean, he's odd, he's strange, but I believe I can read him. Because I think Pep deep down, this is what I always say, and this is a great saying. There's a thin line between self-confidence and arrogance. It's a very thin line. I think it's a great attribute to have resounding, unwavering confidence in yourself. I think that's very important in life, But I always say that, in life you always have to have a balance. Too much of one thing is bad, You're too confident in everything, that can breed into arrogance, which can rub people the wrong way. I think arrogance is a bad trait to have, unless if you're funny. But I think, in the lead up to this, I think, you see, Pep definitely has been using mind games here. And Pep knows, and I can almost understand that, in those previous two games, because this is what he said to Rio. Because Rio asked him that, do those previous two games mean anything? And Pep said no. And I've always been saying this, that like, no, you can't compare an FA Cup semi-final, a trophy that they've won countless times already, a Premier League game where they were always going to win the Premier League, to a Champions League final. Something that he's not been to since 2011, and something that he understands is this is the big trophy. You see, living in England and so forth, I think there are people in England who have a very kind of insulated mentality. Not at all. There are people in England that are global, but the guys in England who have an insular mentality, and they believe that, oh no, I want to always win the Premier League, and winning the Premier League is more important than the Champions League. But Pep is a guy who studied under Cruyff, played for Barcelona, and he understood how important that Champions League win was for Barcelona after so many years being in the doldrums and in the shadows of Real Madrid. And he understood what it meant when he won that Champions League as a manager for Barcelona with that team. So he understands how special this is, and understands that no, this isn't an FA Cup game. This isn't a Premier League game. This is the big one. This is where things really pop off. So you've been playing mind games. So when you know that this is such a key game, why do you want to show your hand? Why do you want to reveal yourself? So in those 2 games he played against Chelsea, like, no, let's keep them guessing. Even better, again, we're playing mind games. Let us give them a false sense of superiority. And my fear is that Chelsea have played into Pep's hands of saying, oh, we've beaten them twice. Hey, we're all good. And Pep is like, okay. Because come the final, Chelsea will face a team that they have not faced in the previous 2 encounters from kickoff. And they're gonna face an approach and a strategy that's going to be very, very different from what they did before. And also, as well, they're going to be sharper. They're going to be much more attentive. And because it's a final, it's going to be a totally different Man City team than they face. Completely different, because it's not only a final. It's one thing it's being a final. It's a Champions League final, the biggest game in club football. So we already know that he's definitely going to. I believe he's always going to use the false nine, and it was interesting. Going back to his interview with Rio, I think, even if Pep didn't show his hand in those 2 games, the beauty about it for Pep is that he'd be like, we know where because we lost, we now know where to improve upon. See, if we'd won those games, we were like, okay, what do we improve upon? Because we also lost those 2 games, albeit not at first, we now know, aha, this is how they use Werner. These are the channels that Mount likes to pass into. This is how they beat the line. This is maybe the kinds of pockets of spaces that ZH gets into. This is how this 3 operates. I know Rudiger's weaknesses. I know Silva's weaknesses. I know Azpilicueta's weaknesses. And Pep will know that, okay, they struggled against Arsenal. They struggled against Villa. Now, we don't sit deep because that's not how we play. But if, when they have the ball, we just are a few meters behind and we now force them to play in front of us, and maybe we now employ a Fernandinho in there to now give us a bit of steal, these guys can't break anyone down. If we give them space, boom. But if we have the approach that we had against PSG, where it's measured, it's compact, and if we now sort of coax them to come towards us, we can hit them on the break, which we know we can through De Bruyne, Foden, and of course Mahrez. Because he knows that, if Mahrez is key. Mahrez is key. And if we use Mahrez, Foden, Silva, and all these guys well, we can pick these guys off on the counter. So Pep is going to be, he knows his team is going to be ready. And his team talk is going to be key, because I think a lot of these players have been around since the Monaco days, and they've felt the hurt and they felt the pain of exits upon exit and the small margin of errors in which they've been knocked out. And once you're here, you're like, this is it, guys. I think Pep will say, look, we know how good we are. We know how well we can play. We know our skill level. We also know our mentality. We also know our character, and we know our willingness to die and to win. But what he will say to himself is that psychologically, we're actually in a better place than Chelsea. So you would think that psychologically, Chelsea would be in a much better place. Because, hey, we've beaten them twice. But personally, no, Celtic were in a better place because they feel they have the advantage. They feel that because they've beaten us twice, they're in a much more advantageous position. But people say to that, look, in these games, they didn't play us when De Bruyne, Foden, Mahrez, Silva started. Of course, with Diaz and Stones in both in defense. They've not played that setup from the very start. And we've seen what we did to Darwin and what we did to PSG. But what is interesting though is that Pep will be thinking, because I see that's where the things get really interesting. When we get now the whole tactical setup, Chelsea will struggle if a team sits in deep. So would Pep be tempted? I don't think he'd do it, but I'm just spitballing. Would he be tempted to be like, let's sit in deep and just counter them? They'll never break us down. 2 hours can go, they will not score against us. Okay, they could only manage 1 goal against Aston Villa. Against us, who we know we are better defensively, they don't know what to score, and we'll just counter them very easily. He could think that. But what I think he'll say is that no. I trust Diaz and Stones. I trust how hard we walk off the ball. I trust us to dispossess guys, specifically to double team onto Kante, double team onto Kovacic. Because Chelsea were so bad against Villa and so forth, I'm just envisioning the game now. And I think Pep will say no. Off the ball, our pressing game is going to pop off. As in, we'll plug the spaces, plug the areas, and I believe that we will win those 50-50s and we'll be able to be sharper and quicker against them. And it's just about, the issue is that back three. It's awkward, which goes into a back five. It's a very awkward opposition to really crack. And they've been pretty solid with it, But as you saw in the game against Villa, they can be breached. They can be breached, and they were breached twice. Obviously, once through an open goal, another one through a penalty. But City will say to us that, because what Pep will say, that what is going to be very important is, control is a very loose word. Control is a very loose word. Because for City, do you want to control the game? Do you need to control the game? When I say control, possession. Control is a very loose word because, as Mourinho said when he played against Peps Barca in 2010, we controlled the game, but we didn't have possession. But that's part of us control the game because the part of our control is for them to have possession. So, of course, City want to have a certain level of possession. But I think what City wants, I believe, is Chelsea to have the ball and find it difficult for them to break down. What Pep doesn't want are for City to start running and give them space and to give space to Timo Werner, because that is what is going to be dangerous, But I think Pep may say that, I'm willing to make that risk because I trust in our defensive cover. But I want us to force the issue onto Chelsea and put a lot of pressure upon them. That's why, if I was Pep, the proof is in the pudding. Sit deep. This team have no creative players. They have no dribblers. They have no inventive players. Sit deep. They will not break you down. And once you now sit deep and they now come towards you, specifically, again, we're not dealing with mind games. They have that superiority complex. Oh, no, we can get past them. You hit them on the break. But whatever the case may be, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. What if Pep plays like a 10-0-0 formation? Or rather, also 0-0-10? He good! Psychology. Psychosis. I wish I could have a conversation with Titi. I wish I could. I wish I could just sit him down and just have a 1v1 conversation with Tuchel. And it's okay, why would you want a conversation with him? I say, if I was speaking to Tuchel, I'd say, don't be overconfident. Because I just don't know. I don't know how Tuchel has read these last two victories he's had against Man City and against Pep. Is he reading it in the sense of like, I've got his number. Tactically, I've figured him out. Good. He's only human, and you will say, wait, I've beaten him twice. I know his strengths and his weaknesses, and I know how to tactically exploit him. Or is he going to hopefully be mature about it and say, I think I know how to exploit him tactically, but I'm going to have to think about something new come to the final, because now this is where it gets difficult for Tuchel. Do you stick or do you twist? Do you stick with the exact same lineup and approach you had in those two games? Or do you come up with something new? And that's where it gets very difficult. That's where it gets very difficult indeed, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You beat them twice, playing a very specific way. So why would you stray and go away from that? It's because my thing is this, is that you're not going to be playing the same team. So again, it goes back to that what I keep on saying, balance. Balance. You want to keep the same idea, but be wary that you will have to tweak and change things. So it's about an approach. I think it would be stupid and foolish for Tuchel to approach this the exact same way that he approached an FA Cup game and a Premier League game. This is a Champions League final. So don't think that they're going to now make the same mistakes with Werner and allow Werner that space to exploit you and allow him to now roam. Don't expect them to allow Ziyech to now be given the opportunity to now take shot. Remember, I think Ziyech scored twice against them. Because I think that is the big decision that Tuchel now has to make, is that do you... Because Man City's starting. So Man and Werner, they're started. So really the discussion, so they're going to be three guys vying for that final spot in the front three, which is Ziyech, Pulisic, and Havertz. And it's a tough decision to make. It's a tough decision to make. Arguments for Ziyech. He has scored twice against them. So maybe he is a good matchup for this opposition. For Havertz, he can consistently give you quality up front in terms of holding up the ball, bringing guys into the game. And I think that he will represent something different that City don't have. Because see, Ziyech, okay, we've played this guy twice. We're now aware of the dangers that he now poses. Pulisic, speed and movement. And I think his speed is what gives him an extra asset over Havertz and Ziyech. It's a tough call. It's a tough call. And you will lean towards, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because see, this is the danger here. Because you only get one crack at this. And again, it's not every year that you come into a Champions League final. You don't want to now put up a totally crazy-ass lineup. And so, we'll not just do something totally crazy. For a final, no. For a final, I think it is wise, it's advisable. What is a safe place? What's a comfort zone? Unless there is a tactical setup that is too good to ignore. We say, this is a great wrench we can throw into the works that is too good to ignore, because they'll never expect this. And I believe that if this works, this can change things for us. you know. And the beauty about this, hence why I can't wait for the last lineup preview that we're going to do it now, maybe beforehand, because I do feel and believe that one of these managers is going to come up with a very crazy lineup, and it's going to be a case of like, oh shit, snap, he dropped him, he moved him there. Why is he over there? You know. And I do believe that as much as Pep has been playing mind games, I do believe that Tuchel has been playing mind games as well. So, is Tuchel going to persist with this, or Reece James right centre back and Azpilicueta right back, or has that just been him again? I'm also keeping my cards close to my chest, and know you're going to be facing a Silva, Christensen, and Rudiger 3, Azpilicueta out as right back. Because for me, again, that's another decision he has to make. Do you go with the defensive security and solidity of Azpilicueta, but you're now losing that right back position specifically in the final third? Or do you go with a Reece James who's going to give you a lot more going forward and is a very good crosser, but can be questionable on the right back position, specifically keeping in mind that is the side that Foden plays on. And because Foden could be dangerous, I trust Azpilicueta against Foden than Reece James. And people say, oh, but Foden is quick. Azpilicueta isn't very quick. Azpilicueta is a quality defender. And what you need to understand about quality defenders is that they don't need to be quick. They just need to be smart. What makes you a quality defender is you are 2 steps ahead. So you don't need to have any speed up recovery time because you're already at that place before that guy even gets there. So Tuchel has a lot of thinking to do, because I think Tuchel has more to think about his lineup than Pep. Pep's lineup, I believe, I don't know what Pep's lineup is going to be, because it's been pretty much consistent through the games against Dortmund and the games against PSG. For Tuchel, it's a bit more tricky, because I told you, who do you play? Because Werner is going to start as striker. It is what it is. Mount is going to start in that attacking midfield position. And the other position is, do you go Ziyech, keep it as is? Do you go Havertz, something new? More of an attacking threat to help to assist Werner as well? Or do you now go with Pulisic? I think he'll go with Ziyech. Havertz. Something just tells me Havertz. Because I'm thinking about the occasion. And I feel that the sick will be up for the occasion. I think that the sick, oh no, my gosh, he'd be up for the occasion. But just something, again, it's just something in the back of my mind. So this is just like a feeling that I'm getting. I just feel that start Havertz. Then Pulisic. Remember, with speed to stretch things, especially if you're in a losing position, you can now come in and do something. Ziyech is, do you want to lean too much in? So, he's scored against them twice, he'll score again. That's a very naive, narrow-minded way to rethink about it. But something just tells me Havertz, man. But look, man, for Tuchel, man, I think, even though looking at his team talk and what he says to these guys, this is going to be a very mental and psychological team talk. And if I was Tuchel, and I speak to these guys, you do not dwell on those two wins that you've had against these guys. You have to realize, because this is what I say to him. You have to realize that this is a Champions League final. Those games are in the past. And there is more pressure on them to win this than there is on you guys. Nobody ever thought for any second, Chelsea would be here. From before a ball was kicked, City were already as one of the favourites. And City have been knocking on the door of this trophy for several years. And this is what's been like 5 years in the making of them knocking on the door, and they've spent ridiculous amounts, continuing going year in, year out. When Tuchel came in, a Champions League wasn't on the cards. He just came in to be like, fix things up. You know, it was a complete horror show with Francis. And just solidify top four. Solidify top four. You know, like, again, because, again, the main thing was to fix the mess that Frank produced. But he's gone one step further. He's saying, okay, I got you that top four. Oh, we're in a final. And my thing is, I always say is that if you want to lose in the semis and the quarters, there's no point in getting to a final and losing. There's no point. That is the worst game to lose. It's the worst game to lose. Like, the worst medal to receive is silver. Bronze is high. Like, you know, whenever you look at Olympics, like, the guy who got bronze, I'm like, oh, jeez, I never could get bronze. The dude who got silver, you don't think that, oh, I got better than bronze. You don't think, no, I lost gold. I was one position away from getting gold. So, for Tuchel, it is extremely important that you get it right, because you are here now, and you're going to win. And also for Tuchel as well, let's just go personal. This is 2 years in a row you've made the Champions League final. You don't really want this on your record of like, I got to the Champions League final twice in a row, and I lost the Champions League final twice in a row. And let's even go even deeper than that. I'm so glad that we're here. I believe he got it wrong in that final years, but he got it wrong tactically. You know, your best player, or rather one of your best players, was isolated. He had to make a big decision and realize that, okay, I have to put Neymar out wide, play striker, put Mbappe out wide, and I'm going to sacrifice Di Maria. He should have seen it wasn't working in the first half. Come the second half, make a business executive decision, saying, I'm sorry, Di Maria, I've got to make the call, bringing you off, putting another striker in there so I can now give Neymar more space to maneuver. Had to do that, but again, he didn't do that. Neymar was nullified by Bayern, didn't have enough space, didn't have any effects upon the game. Boom, screwed up. So for Tuchel, I think it is, because remember, like, you have to get it right. Tactically, you've got to get it right. And if it's a case of where you have gotten, you have to view things, and once you've seen that you've gotten it wrong, you have to have the presence of mind to be like, aha, I've got to correct it. And the quicker you correct it, the better. So look, man, Tuchel has a lot of stuff to think about. A lot of stuff to think about, but I have to keep on pressing this on, man. Forget those 2 wins. Forget about them. They don't mean anything. This is a whole new game, and you're playing against a Man City that will have a totally different approach and totally different psychology than they had before. And I think Tuchel has to get it into these guys' heads that forget about Man City's story and how badly they won it. You are here. Because this is a very important thing. They're going to tell them that you can't have the psychology. I'm sure that they know, but it's going to reinforce this. You can't have the psychology of like, we're never even meant to be here. This is amazing. So it's even an amazing thing that we reached a CL final. No. Now that you're here, you have to win. You have to win, because especially when you just go out into the pitch and, you know, when you're walking and you can see the trophy, like, bro, you win this, you get that. You win this game, you get that. And he has to reinforce that winning mentality for these dudes. Pepini, man. This is actually my favorite chapter. You know, out of all the chapters and so forth. And thank you for coming on towards me as we now approach the crescendo. This is my favorite chapter, which are the narratives. I think what makes I think the Football Hut special and difference from other football channels is we're about the storylines. We are about the tales. We are about that script that's screamed, because I think I like to bring in my whole film background and my acting background to football. And I think what makes things interesting are the stakes and the storylines, because I think everyone has a storyline, and I think the storylines in football are defined by the trophies you've won, the achievements you've made. Hence why I told you I'm not big on consistency. Like, you scoring 5 against Elche means nothing because it doesn't push the needle. But you're not saying what's up in a big game is huge. See, when Pep approached, I don't think any manager has had that kind of an impact in his first season in management. To win a treble in your first season is mad. We'll get it. But let's just first deal with that. Coming in, making the bold claim of telling Dino to step off, a guy who already won the Champions League with Barcelona, and he is Dino. This guy is Dino, so to do that was huge. But then to go ahead and actually win the treble with Barcelona, something that they had never done before, was superb, and they had not won the Champions League in freaking ages since then. So, but again, you say to yourselves that, how clean was it really? Because again, I'm sorry, I'll hold on to 09. I will always hold on to freaking 09 and what happened. But then he then does it again in 2011. And I've always argued that the 2011 victory is his greatest win because of that final. Like, that final, I have never seen a more one-sided final than that. Specifically, those second 45 minutes where literally Man United were chasing shadows. They could not even come close to Barcelona. So I was like, okay, you know what, this... And he made a huge impact. I was like, whoa, wow. But as much as people heralded Pep, they praised his name. They're like, oh, this guy is a second coming. He has revitalized, he has changed the face of football and so forth. There were people that said, is it him or is it Messi? Or is it Iniesta? Yes, we understand your tactics and so forth, but you have a guy who scored 92 goals in a calendar year. You have a dude which many people consider one of the greatest players of all time. And you have a dude who, whether you accept it or not, he is at the very least top 3, top 4, top 5 players in the history of the game. So when you have that, it is impossible to give you full kudos, and it is impossible to ignore the fact that, yeah, you may, as great as a manager as you may be, you have a ridiculous talent on your hand. And to add more salt to the wound, the core of the team you had formed the core of a Spain team that won 3 internationals. So who is the better manager, you or Vicente Del Bosque? Del Bosque, rather. So that's why whenever people look at those Champions Leagues, they don't know how much credit to give to Pep, or much credit to give to the team. And what made it even worse was what happened in 2015. Luis Enrique, who I know is an inferior manager to Pep, and who I don't give any credit towards winning it, they won the treble in a far more convincing manner than Pep did in 09. So, and Pep knew it. Shout out to my fellow countryman, Omar Akatuba, who posed the question to him that said that, people say that you can't win without Messi. And ever since people have said that, because I know Pep, it's been eating at him. So he's always wanted to win another one, but specifically one without Messi. And for me, you see, if he had won with Bayern Munich, a similar thing, not to the same degree, but a similar thing would have possibly been said, because people would have said, okay, cool, but this team did win a treble before you got here, so. But the beauty about the Man City thing is that they had never reached a Champions League final before Pep got there. They have never won a Champions League, let alone a freaking treble. So he is literally creating something anew. Bayern Munich had already won the Champions League already. And even as Barcelona, they'd already won the Champions League with him in the freaking team under Cruyff. So this is something that is a clean slate. And if he was to win this, it would be his greatest victory. and he would get all the credit because, as I said again, when you're facing City, their star player isn't De Bruyne or Mahrez or Diaz. Their star player is Pep. Pep is the dude. Like, when you look at that Barcelona side, it was Messi. Because Messi was the guy who was just doing stuff that we'd never really seen before. So, as much as guys say, it was Pep, guys are like, no, Messi, Iniesta, Xavi, David Villa, Etso, these truly outstanding players. So, it was a combination of one of the great international teams and one of the most talented players we've ever seen. So, Pep was lost in the sauce. But in this, De Bruyne is quality. Mahrez is quality. All these guys are quality. But I think the main focus is on Pep. So if Pep was to win this, it would be his third. So that would put him on par with Zidane, although Zidane did it in a row. On par with Ancelotti. So he would be in a very, very he would be in very special, unique company in winning 3 champions as a manager, something that is very rare. Very few people win 2. Homeboy Fergie, he won him, 20-something years? So that would be key. And I think that once that happened, you see, my beauty is it's not just about him winning the 3rd Champions League, it's him winning it with Man City. So it's a combination. It's a combination of number 3, and it's a combination of him winning it with Man City. Specifically when you look at all of the failures that they've had and the fact that this team is inferior to that 09 Barcelona side and that 2011 Barcelona side. So see, people will want to say, okay, how much credit can we give him because he has spent so much money and so much cash? But I will still push back and say, but he really built this team. He really molded this team. And as we said in one of the chapters, money is the name of the game. Cash is the name of the game. I'll still use it to discredit him because I'm petty and I need something to push back because I need to react. But after I go past my emotional reaction and so forth, it is what it is. Money is the name of the game. And this is a team that he's had all his hands over. So him winning this, for me, you'd have to put him ahead of Zidane because he's done it with 2 different teams, as well as the amount of trophies that he's won. Do you put him ahead of Ancelotti? See, I'm thinking. So Ancelotti's won it 3 times, twice with AC Milan. Should have really won when it's 4. I don't know how with 05. You see, my thing about it is I look at the final. So the 03 final, penalties. 07, clean clear. 2014, it literally was like in the last minute. And then extra time. Now, Pep's roots has always been a bit iffy. 09, I think, even Rio even says that, like, bro, we couldn't get close to you guys. And 2011, it was even worse. It was even much more resounding. So the manner of the win, I think, is also going to be key. Because I think everything matters is how many you win, who you win it with, how many different teams you win it with, and the manner in which that you've won it. You know, I think them taking out PSG is also key because that was a heavy hitter and that was a team that that got to the final last year. But you could make an argument that he goes at Ancelotti, so we could be looking at a Pep Guardiola who might pretty much be ahead of the tree. And what would be most painful is Mourinho. You know, I've always held on to 2010. But I think if he gets number 3, I'll still try, but it'll be very hard for me to now put Mourinho because I'm sorry, 3 is more than 2. 3 is more than 2, and he's done it with 2 different teams. You know, he's done it with 2 different teams. You know, because you could push back with Mourinho and say, well, he did it with FC Porto, which is a difficult team to say so with. But my thing is, Pep will say that, okay, that's cool, but I have 3 Champions Leagues. You have 2. 3 defeats 2. So Pep would have to have an argument. But if he does it, then the debate is this guy the best manager of his generation? Now, of all time, that's a different discussion, but of his generation, of his peers, and of his grouping, all the titles, all the records, 3 CLs, Two different teams. The resume is looking high. Resume is looking high. Could he do it? Could he do it? You see, I'm big on Dodd. The Tuchel narrative is an interesting one because the Tuchel narrative has everything to do with the storyline of this season. Because when Tuchel took over, the idea was just steady the ship, maintain top four. This is a botched up season. It's been screwed up, just maintain top four. The Champions League wasn't even in discussion. It wasn't on anyone's radar. It wasn't on anyone's. It was just like steady the ship, keep things steady because this guy just effed up this whole enterprise, man. So please, be James T. Kirk Spock, just steady the ship all the way. But here we are. Tuchel wanted just to do a little bit more. Tuchel was like, fine, I'll give you top four a bit, but I want to just give you a little bit more. And here we are. We're in a Champions League final, and there's a chance to win it. So Tuchel winning it with Chelsea, I think you have to look at the Dodd. And the Dodd is him taking over. This is similar, but not the same. This is similar to 2016 and Zidane. So I believe Zidane took over Benitez, and I think it was Benitez. So Zidane taking over in 2016. You could say, okay, that's the same. He took over and he won with them in 2016. But the difference there was that I don't think the Real Madrid team I don't think there were as much issues. And I don't think that they needed as much revamping as Tuchel. Tuchel revamped the entire thing. Like, I think when he walked in, you're walking into a situation where, you see, when Zidane walked into Real Madrid, the fans were welcoming. They're like, oh, and the fans wanted, this is simple. The fans wanted, I think it was Benitez who was in charge. I think they wanted him out. So the fans wanted him out. They did not like him. And Zidane, former player, one of your best players that you've ever had, a guy that won the Champions League for you. Oh, come on down. So they were far more welcoming. For Tuchel, the fans wanted Chelsea to get relegated. Like, the hardcore fans wanted Chelsea to get relegated. They said, as long as Lampard is in charge, we don't care whether we are playing Torquay or Kingsbury FC in Division 6. So, and when Tuchel came, he was hated. People they wanted him to fail. They actually wanted him to fail. So, it's dealing with that. The hate that I had from the fans. Dealing with the fact that you had to literally grab open and just tear every single thing that Lampard came up with, which was just useless, and impose something new. And people say, no, this takes time. Surely it takes time to bring in such a radically new method. But as we saw, here we are in a Champions League final. You see, Tuchel has always been a dude who, because this is like a Tuchel Chelsea narrative. It's a Tuchel Chelsea narrative because see, because this is like a Tuchel Chelsea narrative, because the Tuchel narrative is, you look at PSG, and Tuchel will feel that I got screwed over. And look at what's even happening with Pochettino now. I got screwed over, and I believe that we were on the right path of winning this. Because remember, Tuchel took PSG to a place that they'd never been before in the history, which is, of course, with the Champions League final, and they only just lost. It was close. And now you now have a situation here now where he's now back in the final again. And I think Tuchel knows that winning this will radically change how people are perceiving me. Because right now, how do people perceive Tuchel? Talented coach, talented manager, but he's never mentioned in the same breath as a Pep, a Mourinho, a Klopp, an Ancelotti, and so forth. Like, he's not really mentioned there, or even like a Flick. So he's just seen as, oh, this is like a talented guy, but sort of like in the kind of tier two category below the top dogs. But leading Chelsea to winning a Champions League, wow. Leading this very young, inexperienced side, who, let's keep it real, nobody believed they would get here. Nobody thought for a second they would get it. So having that and doing that in itself is crazy. That in itself is crazy and it's mad. So it'd be huge. Now, from the Chelsea narrative, which is mixed with my narrative, is the abuse. The abuse. I have taken too much abuse. The disrespect leveled at me, the hatred leveled at me, the insults leveled at me has been quite frankly unacceptable. Unacceptable. And it's something that I feel people need to chill. And if fair is fair, based on the abuse that I got all the way last year, Chelsea should win this. Chelsea should win this. And I think them winning this, I think it's football justice. It's football justice. And I think Chelsea deserve it. Chelsea deserve it based on how I've been attacked. And I think that, again, this is the theme of this whole pre-match analysis, is balance. Balance. Chelsea and myself, we fell right to the bottom of the barrel. Right to the bottom of the barrel. We were right low. And I think it's only fair to balance things that if Chelsea win this, the world is balanced and so forth. And for me, see, I love 2012. And I love 2012 and I appreciate 2012. But I think this is the same thing I say to guys who've only won something once. Because I say that, once is an anomaly. Once is an anomaly. If you do something twice, you stick to your claim. Because once you could just say, oh yeah, you got lucky. And a lot of people want to say that Chelsea got lucky. But a second CL win, you can't ignore Chelsea as a European powerhouse. You cannot ignore them. This drastically changes how people view Chelsea. This now is a second one for a team in London. But I think once you as a club can say we've won the Champions League twice, I already believe Chelsea are one of the biggest clubs in the world. But I think a second CL title, a second CL crown, then you now hating on this club makes you look foolish. So that is what's on the line. Because for me, I'm being very careful. Because I told you, hashtag Seme's been moment, it's humbled me. And it humbled me to the point of where if Chelsea lose, all right, I'll try to discredit it and I'll deal with that. If Chelsea win, I'm keeping calm. I'm keeping calm. Because I have the list and names, I read them out here, of all the people that hated me. All the haters, because I've been holding on to it ever for a year now. And if Chelsea win the Champions League, Pogba and De Bruyne sitting in a tree. K.I.O. So, Pogba and De Bruyne. So much has been said about these two guys, and it's almost split. It's almost split, Are you a Pogba guy? Are you a De Bruyne guy? De Bruyne guy, Pogba guy. Split, black and white. And I've always been a Pogba guy, Look, it's based on football, not based on race. Based on football. I've always been a Pogba guy. But De Bruyne has beginning to impress me. But as we stand right now, what Pogba has always had over De Bruyne is, I'm a World Cup winner. I scored in a World Cup final. And De Bruyne, you've not done anything in a major final. So I think with that, with all the stuff that De Bruyne may have done throughout the season, with all of his consistency, Pogba's ace in the hole and his trump card is always that I bowled in a World Cup. And I scored in a World Cup final and I have that World Cup with me. And De Bruyne has nothing to counteract that. But this could be huge for De Bruyne. We know how good he is. We know what he's done. We know the amounts of assists that he had, like, sharing the same record with Henry. So we know of his skill level. But what has always stopped De Bruyne from really entering that echelon and really being able to say, okay, well, now this Pogba thing is a real argument, is, okay, let's see your credentials. I don't see a World Cup. I don't see a Euros. I don't see a Champions League. And I'm sorry, you can't talk to a World Cup winner if you don't have any of the triumvirate. I say that's the triumvirate. It's the footballing triumvirate. World Cup, the World Cup, your Continental Crown, Champions League. If you don't have any of these three, I don't want to hear from you. You're pretty much irrelevant to me. You need at least one of these triumvirates: the World Cup, your Continental Crown, and the Champions League. So for De Bruyne, you being in this Champions League final right now, and you being playing a big part and leading them right now, you could win something that Pogba doesn't have. And now, if you do win this, we can have a great conversation. One guy has the World Cup, one guy has the Champions League. But what's also very important is how he does it also as well. Because if De Bruyne, let's say, he scores a key goal, he plays a key pass, or he's a man of the match, that will also be very important as well. Because that will be very key. Remember, Pogba, he got a World Cup goal. He scored an African World Cup final. So, and I think what this now does for De Bruyne is it makes his status official. You see, people talking about how De Bruyne is one of the best in the world, world class. That's just hot air. It's guys just talking nonsense, and those guys who are just being reactionary. The guys that are not actually being realistic. Because if you're really realistic, he's not yet to earn his stripes. And you earn your stripes. The only way that you earn your stripes is you have to go out there and win. You have to bring me a trophy. You've got to bring me a trophy. You've got to bring me something tangible. And for De Bruyne, if he gets this Champions League, I will now officially say he is that dude. He's world class. He's one of the best in his position. And the way I now view him is, you're no longer a domestic merchant. You're no longer just a talented guy. You are now official. You see, you winning one of the triumvirates, it officializes you. So De Bruyne right now, you're not official. You're unofficially quality. Quality, but in an unofficial sense. By winning one of these three, you're now an official guy. You're not a man that I can now respect and I say, no, let's talk about this guy. Let's talk about this man. So, De Bruyne, it's a big game. And for so long, I've been saying that I've been following you, quality and so forth, but I need you to ball in a major final. I need you to ball in a major final before I can give you that dub, before I can give you that seal of approval. And this is the game. This is a perfect opportunity for you to come in and say, HH Halfop, you prick. Again, people are on top of it. For all the hates, I'm going to deliver you a Champions League medal. I'm going to ball in the biggest way possible. And I'm going to make it impossible for you to deny me my rightful place in the footballing elite. Golo. You see, it's about painting a picture. It's about painting a picture. And when you paint this picture, it's about how wholesome is your picture look? How full does the picture look? And what is the texture? How deep is it? So let's look at Golo's picture right now. Leicester City is one of the biggest pieces of dust that we've ever seen in history. I don't know how the hell those guys won it. And people that view it, they say that, one of the key reasons as to why they were able to say what's up was, of course, Vardy did his thing. Vardy, of course, did his thing. But one of the key reasons why they were able to say what's up was one of the key reasons was course, Vardy, but Mahrez and Kante. And Kante was a major part in one of the greatest pieces of dot that we've ever seen. So you look at that right now, and then you then look at what he now does when he now moves over to Chelsea. League title, FA Cup. And then look at what he does for France. And people say, oh, well, what did he do in the final? Ask anybody in that team. Look at the song that they made for him. They said if Kante did not play, they don't win that. They don't even get that World Cup final. So without Kante, they don't steal the World Cup final because Kante was huge. You know? Kante was huge. So he has forget a league title. Because not all league titles are the same. Not all league titles are the same. The reason why this particular league title of his is special is because of it's dud. That Leicester City league title is the same as City winning it, or Chelsea winning it, or Liverpool winning it, based on the degree of difficulty of how improbable it was, and it was a major part of how it was improbable. So you look at that league title, you look at a World Cup. You know the Euros is coming this summer. A Champions League for Kante would have to have a serious discussion. This dude was man of the match in both games of a semi-final. We can't even remember the last time that happened, where a player was the man of the match in both legs of a Champions League semi, and he did so against freaking Real Madrid. I mean, the guy's resume is off the freaking chain. And I said again, you know, if Kante isn't in that starting lineup, I'm not watching the game. I refuse to watch the game. I'll continue watching The Shield. You know, damn good series, by the way. Damn good series, The Shield, or The Office, UK version, much better. So a lot is at stake. A lot is at stake here. And him winning the Champions League, being such an important member of Chelsea, such a vital member of the Chelsea team, he's not just a water carrier. He is the nucleus and the lifeblood of this freaking team, both defensively and going forward. So he helps to create goals, and he also helps to defend goals as well. He's everything. He's this team's heartbeat. So him winning a Champions League, we have to now talk about, is he the best player in his position? Because I'll push you further. I take Kante for Makalele. People call it wild and everything, but say, like, if I'm choosing an all-time team and you're putting a guy in that hole, in that little hole that protects the defense, and it's between Kante and Makalele, don't tell anybody. I think I'm high key, I'm choosing Kante. But for me, these narratives are dependent on what you win. So if Kante can present me a Dord League title, a World Cup, and a Champions League, and all, by the way, this was a Champions League with a team that shouldn't have been here. So the Dord isn't the same Dord as Leicester City, but it's a similar Dord. Do we call Kante the best player in his position? Correct me if I'm wrong. Makalele never won a World Cup. I don't believe he was part of that 98 team. Busquets, for me, was not as important a piece as Kante is for France and Chelsea, and how it was for Leicester City. Busquets was quality. I don't think he was as vital as Kante is for France, as for Chelsea and Leicester City. In all these three teams that Kante has been in, he has been a very important piece where, no, we cannot function without him. We cannot live without him. We saw what happened to Chelsea without Kante against Villa. It was a mess. He is needed. He is vital. We need him. You know? And Kante is the sort of guy like he's not really bothered about this whole Champions Leagues, World Cups, and so forth. So he's cool because the guy is the most humble man you'll ever meet. But I'm saying this for N'Golo is quality player. Sarri needs to be thanked for what he's done. So as a player, which is what it makes it interesting, as a player, I feel that this is one of the most complete players of his generation in terms of reading the game, football IQ, intelligence, decision making, tackling, ball control, movements, distribution of the ball. And again, it's what I said earlier before. What separates the really good players from the top players is decision making. Mount, that's something that he needs to really work up on. Kante, he's a guy who you can rely upon that he's always going to make the right decision. He will always remain composed and always ensure to make the right decision for the team. He will always put the team above anything else, above personal glory. So, Kante winning a Champions League to go along with how good he is, how he's one of the best in his role, and look at all his other credentials. Do we need to call the Ballon d'Or? Or do we need to wait for the Euros? But even if before the Euros, if it presents a World Cup, a Champions League, and a dud league win with Leicester City, I'm just saying that is a damn good repertoire. But we're all talking in hypotheticals. Kante, this might be one of your most difficult tasks in history. It's going to be tough to win this one, bro. I can, if you can. And here we are. There's no going back right now. This is it. This is where things get fully real. As I said again, I have been fearing this day for a long time. I've been very, very fearful. And it gets no bigger than this. This is what I live for. This is my oxygen. This is what makes me get up in the morning, man. This is how I breathe. This is how I breathe. And I've been trying to ignore this. We're trying to move forth and so forth. But guys, it is what it is. We're about to embark on a CL final. We're about to embark on one of the biggest games in the last 46 years. I'm nervous. Of course I am. And I think the closer that we get to this final day, the more that I'm going to really be, because there is so much. And as I said again, I'm a narrative merchant. And Pep wins. It's going to be a difficult stream. It's going to be a very, very difficult stream. And of course, I will try to discredit him. And of course, I will not accept loss. I'm sorry. I refuse. Once you're in a final, I can accept losing a semi or a quarter. You can't lose a final. You just can't. So there is a lot at stake here. And for Chelsea, I don't know what I would do if Chelsea managed to pull this off. I am shocked that Chelsea even made this final. Specifically with the events that happened last season, I'm shocked that they even managed to make this freaking finale mantic. But they're here. But they are here. And there can be no denying that. One team is going to lift up that trophy. Sorry, I don't think it works where there can be two winners. There can only be one winner. There can only be one team who can call themselves the 2021 Champions League winners. And there's an argument for both sides. There is an argument for both sides. I know you want a prediction from me. I get it. I understand that. But guys, you have to understand that I don't give a crap what you guys want. Because once things get this real, I'm sorry, I've got to, you take an executive the decision and use everything in my power. I am superstitious, yes. I am spiritual and so forth. So I just feel that me giving a prediction, I think, could mess things around. But I'll be real with you of how I'm saying my mind state right now. My mind state right now is City are the favorites. They declare favorites here. I believe they are the better team. And for me, I don't give a crap about what has happened in the two previous meetings because as we learned in the Europa League final, a final is different from any other game. Okay, I don't want to hear about Serie. I don't want to hear about a freaking EPL game. I don't want to hear about a freaking FA Cup final. This is the biggest game in club football. Maybe you didn't hear me. This is the biggest game in club football. This is the one game that can change your career. So when you think about that, why would I want to mess that up? Because this is the channel. You should be doing this for your subscribers and so forth. I don't think you understand who you're dealing with here. I'm real, okay, and this is real. Okay, how do I say this so I can explain to you guys? Guys, this is the CL final. I need this trophy. I need this trophy because there are a whole legion of guys who want me to fail. They want Chelsea to fail. They're praying for Chelsea's downfall. So when you realize how much is at stake in this final, surely you must understand that I can't mess it up just to be like, hey, this is what you should do and everything. No, because it's real. It's real. Chelsea brought the upper plate still final, man, against Man City. Pep has the chance to make it a 3 flex. Chelsea could somehow just bring an upset. I'll leave you with this. I will leave you with this. I believe that we're going to get, it's not going to be an entertaining final. I believe we're going to get something that's going to be pretty tight. Both teams are going to be very, very careful. And I feel that it's going to be a very psychological final. It's not going to be open play and open warfare. I think it's going to be a very psychological final. And this thing could go to penalties. I don't know how I can emotionally handle penalties because even I was nervous in a United Villarreal game and I wasn't even rooting for anyone. So Chelsea going to penalties, I don't even know how I can handle extra time. But all I'll say is this, and this goes to both teams. This is it. As Michael Joseph Jackson would say, this is it. There are no do-overs. There are no saves. You have to put every ounce. You've got to shed blood. You've got to shed blood for this, because this is the game. You are one win away from being Wikipedia merchants. One win away from being Wikipedia merchants. One win away from history. One win away from history. And you just have to realize that's reality. Guys, we'll see you on Saturday. Join me always an hour beforehand for the lineup preview. Come kickoff, join me on Twitch for this monumental stream. Man City, Chelsea, good luck. A Champions League trophy is on the line. Bye.